the second split, the summer split that is. I'm here with my co-caster, Magic Man,
Hello.
and of course, I am Way here. We are looking at Queen's Gambit versus I Can't Believe We Have Girlfriends. Um, Something like that, right? Now,
New
I,
classic, a new era.
yeah, I'd love to spend time to sort of talk about the things I'd expect, or maybe from the players, but they've already went ahead and started draft, so I think we're just gonna go right into that. Um, yeah, we're getting a fast start.
Yeah, they're already cruising through bands here. So it looks like Queen's Gambit or Team Black targeted. Uh, can't believe we had Girlfriend's Jungler right off the bat with that Nocturne and Master Yi ban. Um, Lucian ban, probably a pretty safe pick, or ban, excuse me, as he's pretty strong in the mid lane right now. And can't believe we have Girlfriends responded with a Zac and Skarner and a Bard ban. What do you think about those bans?
I mean, the Master Yi and Nocturne fans, they are very sure that they do not want to see these characters. It's kind of interesting because I typically think of Yi as not being that great in comp. You can just kind of counter him with certain forms of CC and coordination. On the other side, Bard
Fair.
and Zac being banned. Okay. Cassidon and Tristana, two hyper carries being picked out.
Well, we do have Magic Meep Daddy on support for Queen's Gambit, so my guess is he is a Bard main. Probably a good ban to pick up there if I don't say so myself.
Beautiful. Okay, Rakan Jinx coming out for Black side right now.
I love that lane.
You do?
Yeah, Rakan Jinx is good. If Rakan can get a knockup, Jinx is almost guaranteed to land traps. And he's just a speedy boy. Gets her the shields and heals that she needs to just kind of stay safe in lane and get deal some good damage from range.
All right, now I am going to come across a little bit of an issue here, which I already have seen coming with Gray's team, and that their team's name is extraordinarily long. So uh, I may have to find a way to summarize this because it's not going to fit in the predictions.
Yeah, you might just have to abbreviate it to maybe can't believe or just we have girlfriends.
Yeah, we have girlfriend. That's what I'm going with.
Awesome. Good, good.
Uh, I can't fit the gray. I'm just gonna put girlfriends.
Now, wait, fill me in on this. Team Gold Gray. I am seeing some familiar faces that I believe were actually on Black last split. In their top laner and their mid laner.
Right.
However, oh, and you know what? I say that Kodak Mac. He has also been in the league, and same with Persona. So they actually have a couple of. It looks like they straggled up some loose players, snagged them, and put them on Gray team. But what about Black? At least maybe I'm just not recognizing name changes, or are most of these players on Team Gap Black new to the league?
I think that for the black, they are mostly going to be new to the league. Um, I, there have definitely been some new teams coming out. I think this is one of them, right? This is pretty much an entirely new team. Banana Bread, N20CY, Angs Gaming, B&J, Magic Meat Daddy. Let me know if that's not how any of those are pronounced. But yeah, I actually just don't really know what to expect for this. This is kind of new blood out here.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some new blood in Gold League. Not that it all got stale towards the end, but it's always excited to see new teams play and see new teams and players surface. That was one of my favorite parts about Gold League was watching the transition from the beginning to the end and kind of seeing those top players or our overall MVPs really emerge throughout the split. So give me some new blood. I'm excited to see things changed up.
Yep, and in fact, we're seeing quite a big change. Even the Mordekais are coming out. All right. So already a lot of front to backing. Rakan Jinx Sejuani is looking like what it's going to be with the Mordekaiser. I wonder what they're going to pick for their mid lane to roll to complete this comp.
Yeah. Oh.
Ooh. And I can't believe that one got through. Yeah, Jinx Oriana Sejuani, a very, very strong pairing with a huge frontliner in front. It's going to be very difficult for the enemy team to get to their back line with this comp, but the enemy team does have the ability to do that with a couple of their characters, right?
They do. And another, not I wouldn't say huge flaw in Black's draft here is they're pretty AP heavy. Jinx is going to be their primary source of AD damage.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I guess, a strength and possibly a weakness if they really itemize into MR. But again, that's a really strong wombo combo. And if they can keep Jinx alive, which Orianna, Mord, Sejuani should be able to, that's going to be a pretty scary threat. And Warren picked up for Can't Believe We Have Girlfriends rounding out their team. So that is a Xin Zhao jungle, mid lane Caspian, and bot lane Tristana Leona. How do you like that team comp?
I feel like when you pick the cast in, you say that you're going to play for scaling. I know this is a sub mid laner for them, Snacks. Um, so I don't know if that is how much that's impacting their draft because I do know that's his main Cassidy and he just decided to pick it up like B1 immediately. It's kind of surprising that they didn't pick up the Orianna a lot earlier in draft because it's not like they didn't know where the Cassidy was going anyways. Um, but I think that to what you were saying, yeah, the team is very scaling and I'm a little worried because I feel like if Queen's Gambit has really good coordination, they should be able to end the game by 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, you're not wrong. They have a lot of good turret pushing potential in that Jinx, especially when they group and she can just rocket form and safely take down turrets. But I do like the late game scaling for Gray. That Ornn is going to become literally unkillable, I think, against that team comp. Um, and obviously Kassadin is Kassadin. So when he hits that level 16, it's pretty much lights out for Rakan, Orianna, Jinx if he can get on that backline with the flank.
Right.
Um, so a very distinct late game, with hopefully Tristana being able to carry that early and middle game for them.
We'll see. Jinx has been known to be a very strong pick in LCS, so we'll see if that is true today. Um, I also want to say that the Mordekaiser is kind of a very interesting pick, right? I guess if the Kassadin or Xin Zhao are posing a problem, Mordekaiser can just like ult them away from the backliners, and the backliners can just continue to deal damage in the mid game.
Yep.
So we'll see if that goes how we expect it to. It will be interesting.
Yeah, I really love the setup though. Rakan feels like a really strong pick with this comp. I think Leona would have probably done a better job than Rakan, so I'm surprised that they didn't pick that up instead. Um, but obviously, he's got a lot of engage in his kit, and his ultimate really, really does help kind of corral everybody together to secure that Sejuani ult on one stun, slow on the rest, and Orianna coming over with the ball. So that's the only thing I guess I might question a little bit with this comp. I did say I love Rakan Jinx, but is Rakan super strong right now? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's. I think it's mostly kind of sets up for a little bit of a wombo with the Rakan, Sejuani, Orianna, and if they pull that off into the just Jinx constantly dealing damage, that'll be really, really nice. But we'll just have to see. The early lanes are not so crazy. Like Oriana's obviously gonna have Prio on Kassadin if she wants it. She just has better pushing power. I don't think she's gonna get too many kills on Kassadin though.
Well, I also think that Xin Zhao is going to be able to have his way in Sejuani's jungle.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of invades to start that counter jungle, and Xin Zhao probably being a lot more on top of getting ganks off early.
that's true. I would say though that Oriana is gonna be having more Prio against Kassadin, so it's gonna be harder for Zinzao to make plays around mid lane. Like if he wants to go for an invade, I would expect Oriana to be there first until level 6.
That makes sense.
For the Mordekaiser versus Ornn lane, not quite sure. I think that Mordekaiser has an alright time versus Ornn. I think it's winning for him, so I don't know necessarily. Mordekaiser's kind of known to just be constantly pushing, but maybe that pushing can work against him. If Zinzao gets a nice gank in pre-6, then we already know that, like you said, Zinzao's going to have a faster clear and better jungle time against the Sejuani, so he's gonna be there first. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We're being told it's a Talon, not an Ori. So that they immediately picked Talon at the beginning, and then they switched it to Ori, but I guess that was an accident. So It is
Huh.
actually going to be a talent for their team. So it actually changes things a lot.
It's a similar function in the sense that Talon's ultimate is also AoE. But other than that, they lose that ability to pull everybody into a tight ball with that Orianna ult and that really strong AP presence. So that does really change things. So specifically in the mid lane, Talon wins against Kassadin early, doesn't he?
Yeah, Talon is going to have a lot of prio against Casca and be able to make a lot more roams. So now it's looking a lot more safer for Mordekaiser and Jinx and Rakan to push up because Talon could always come and help them, and Kassadin is not going to be able to do anything into the bottom top lanes early, obviously.
Interesting.
Okay, and very nice. We are going to be running a 1 minute ad break, get some water in while we can.
That really changes up the whole comp. I actually really liked Orianna there.
I think Orianna fit better into their comp, and then Talon was more of just like, never mind, we're just going to play for early game instead, which is kind of weird because you pick Sejuani, right? Um, it just feels weird to me that we picked the Talon so late. Uh, we picked both bot lane early, which, I mean, the Jinx was a counter pick to Tristana, and then the Sejuani being blinded. I just kind of would have rather them just pick the Talon there if they were going to pick it, and then just go for a more early game jungle, right?
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with that. It is kind of strange to see that Sejuani pickup. I don't know if they thought Sejuani was going to be a contested pick, and maybe that's why they third rounded it. I know Gary Barrett used to play a lot of Sejuani. I don't know if he has recently, but that might have been their thought that, hey, this could be a contested pick. Let's get it first and then just save our mid lane for whatever we want. That might be my only guess. But
Yeah.
if they were scouting out the jungler, which they did because they banned Nocturne and Master Yi, Xin Zhao seems like a bigger threat than Sejuani,
Yeah,
based on my book.
absolutely, and that's it feels to me like the comms for making the team was kind of like, oh, we want to play front to back, we want to have Sejuani Jinx for sure, and then like it feels like they were like, yeah, we're not gonna take the Ori here, and then later on in draft they were thinking about the Ori, and then they were like, you know what, actually I just want to win lane against the Kassadin. It feels like it was a little bit of a maybe like a miscommunication or a missed sort of thought right there. But we'll see if they can pull something out. I mean, they still have a pretty strong mid game presence, so as long as they're able to end the game by a certain point, or maybe Talon is just able to kind of smurf on that team. We'll see.
Are you able to stream the game to me in Discord?
Yes, sir.
I think that's just the easiest to be able to shotcast it for you.
No problemo. I will do that right for you. That is not it. And yeah, we're about to get right here into this game. This is the second game of the gold split, and not too many games have happened so far. So it's kind of they've kind of had me waiting, you know. Like these guys are like, yeah, we're gonna keep you on the seat a little bit longer after the trailer video came out and after our game started. We're gonna wait a little bit. But here on Friday, we're getting our second game of the Gold Series. I think this is the second or third game entirely that has even been played in the Gold Series bracket. So
How many weeks is Gold's split this time around?
um, this is a great question. Let me go look it up.
I didn't mean to quiz you and put you on the spot.
I don't remember the exact dates for all the leagues. I get them all
I
jumbled up.
believe it is less than it was the first time around,
I
correct?
believe it's like 2 to 4 weeks less than it was the first time around. So like almost pretty much a whole month. But I don't remember the exact day or how many weeks it is.
Someone is slowing us down with a toaster
Oh no,
computer.
the Wi-Fi
It might be
warrior.
Mordekaiser. He doesn't have a skin. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, remember in old days of League where we could see everyone else's like loading bars and be like, you
Blame
could
him.
see,
Yeah,
yeah, you
absolutely.
flame them for having crappy internet connection or computers or just being throttled. It's like, hey, you took forever. I'm gonna report you. Wait, no, come on. We only sat there for 15 minutes to get in lobby.
All I remember is back in college when we played League, I had like 8 ping, and it was the greatest thing in the entire world. And now I have like 80. Doesn't feel as good, Way. Let me tell you that much.
It does not feel as good. I agree with you. I know exactly what you're talking about. It felt like ping was RNG, you know what I'm saying? In League of Legends? Like, some people just had good ping because I guess they were close to servers, or like, I don't know if throttling was a thing back then, but it definitely felt terrible depending on your ISP or where you lived and stuff. And it's a lot more equalized now. So, you guys have it easy, okay? You newbies out there have it
Yeah.
easy.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I liked it back in the days when I had that ping advantage. Now, that's what's probably keeping me locked in gold 3. Just my ping.
The fact that everyone has the same ping as me and I'm not superior. What the heck? Do. All right, even maybe we're loading in now. Not positive. League is kind of determining right now. It's like, uh. Okay, lights are on.
There
Day
we
has
go.
broken. Is a new dawn upon us. Some early pings right there. I didn't really look at the summoners, but we are seeing Rakan with Exhaust and Leona with Ignite, Talon with Ignite, and Castlin with TP. Everything else is pretty standard.
Do you think either team invades here?
I think
No,
they're
I'm seeing 5-point pings all the way across the board.
yeah, 5-point pings and looking for wards is what it looks like. The Sejuani obviously makes a lot of sense, right? She wants to know where the Zen starts and make sure she's not being getting anything cheeky. I really like that Snacks was a little late there. That Caston coming to the top side ward, and Sejuani went for that vision right on the red buff. So one of the earliest ganks that Zen Zhao can usually do is a red buff into level 2 gank, right? So that's kind of stopping that. Like, they'll know exactly where the Zen Zhao is if he decides to go red buff.
Only time will tell, Way. And I'm excited. This is my least favorite part of the game when we are 5-pointing for the first minute and a half and there's no action.
Well, this is the time where we can sort of relax and talk about what we expect to come. You know, there's going to be some battles on the top lane, I'm sure, because they're two very close range. Mordekaiser, kind of like a duelist, like an AP duelist, pretty much. It's very close range. And Ornn also having pretty good combos on melee characters. They're just going to be duking it out. Caston is probably going to have to give up a lot of early wave to Talon. We'll see. Or he's going to take that Rake damage. Rake being changed recently, too. Oh, that second part. Remember, that deals more damage now, and the first part deals less.
There's not much Casting can do either. He obviously does get out traded early, so he has to sit back and let the wave bounce to him, which is always unfun as a caster. Couple little trades going across in the bot lane here. Jinx and Tristana trading autos. We do see Talon just abusing this cast in level 1 with autos and his rake.
Right, and it's just kind of how it has to be played. Okay.
Level 2 is gotten for red side first here. Leona immediately engages on the Jinx, forces the Jinx to flash. We do see Ignite come out of Leona there, and Jinx is going to have to back still at level 1 for... Oh, no, I lied. Level 2. As one minion dies to the turret.
Yep, she just gets level 2, but that is just a very unfortunate start to have as Jinx. Like, you really can't very easily afford to lose so much wave early on. It's such a big determining factor in how the wave is going to go. Now they kind of have to...
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, they kind of have to wait a little bit now.
They really do, and that's something that I feel like you have to really pay attention to when you're playing against a Tristana, or 3 times as much when you're playing against a Tristana Leona. She wants to engage at level 2 literally the second she gets it. So you either need to push the wave so you have it first and you can play a little bit safer with your posture, or you got to sit back and relax. But you don't ever want the engage to happen like that does. You see it coming every time.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, and someone did mention that Caston did have to burn flash too, but we are seeing a Zen Zhao gank on the top lane.
We are. Mordekaiser is low on health here. Ornn is as well, but with the help of Xin Zhao, the first blood is secured and goes over to Ornn. We do see some trading in the bot lane. Leona was able to land a combination, and they knocked down Jinx, who had just returned to lane and only had picked up 3 farm prior to her second back.
Yeah, now this is just a terrible spot for bots to be on, but wait a second. Xin Zhao's looking for more blood in the water.
Talon knows he's pretty safe hopping over that wall. He's able to walk out of there just fine. But again, like we had kind of called, early action coming out of the Xin Zhao, especially much more than what we're expecting out of Sejuani. I say that though, Sejuani is now trying to catch out the Xin Zhao out of the river. Talon's jumping in over the wall. Ignite goes down on Xin Zhao. Kills picked up and traded one to Talon, one to Xin, and Sejuani is going to pick
Ooh.
up that cast and kill. Kodak is trying to follow up, but is not going to be able to get there in time. That's a
Yeah.
big pickup for Sejuani there. She actually picked up both of those kills, not the Talon.
Yeah, and that's going to make it a lot easier for her to contest Xin Zhao for the remainder of the game. Now, Xin Zhao's kind of put on the back foot after that one. And also, the Jinx kind of, like, I would not say she's back in the game. She's still behind a kill and a few CS. Probably the Tristana's going to be getting this level before her on this wave. But that does give her a little bit of breathing room for the rest of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. But with both sums down, Tristana and Leona are pretty much practically always going to have kill pressure in that lane. As you see, Jinx is literally posturing up back by her turret. Doesn't know where Xin Zhao is and doesn't really want to go up to that wave to find out.
Okay, Mordekaiser getting some very deep vision on the Xin Zhao. I don't hate that. He can still... He's used both of their wards there in the top. So he has a lot of time to pressure this Ornn in the meantime.
Well, what I like about that is they really are trying to prioritize where is the Xin Zhao. Just by that deep ward again on that red buff, we know that they are worried about this jungler, and they know that's going to be one of the reasons that this game accelerates. So really trying to keep an eye on him. But as I say, that Xin is hiding in the bush, secret agent style on a pink ward here. Talon again walking back down to his bot side jungle, looking for a safe wall to hop over.
And he will
Talon
find it.
Caston don't have enough to catch him there, though.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, I feel like your ganks on mid lane are a little wasted. Unless you can catch Talon right after he used a wall jump.
It is tough. I mean, Caston doesn't have a lot of tools to help assist with that kill. So maybe they're just sending Xin Zhao in the mid lane to try to help alleviate that pressure. We do see Caston with a 2-farm lead, which I'm surprised with. I would have assumed that Talon would have kind of taken away that. So probably props there. That's why they're focusing the jungle there so much, to just try to keep Cass in it.
And Caston's actually going to be able to hit level 6 before the Talon, so he has a little bit of time where he can pressure a Talon. Now I'm not sure. If the Talon gets Ignite, I think he wins that. And he is going to be... Ooh, looks like a fight is almost about to break out over the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, a couple of missed spells there. Rakan missed his W. Leona missed her E. No engages or CC going down, so no fight to be had. We do see a couple of trades coming across in the Ornn Mordekaiser lane, but I don't imagine we'll see a lot of kill pressure from either of those two without a gank.
Yep. You know, Persona, we didn't get to see too much of him last season after the first half, so I'm glad he gets some more game time here. And he's doing alright versus the Mord. Like, he got the one kill from... Oh!
Oh, Leona with the flash out of Fog of War lands the EQ stun combination. Tristana is able to jump in again though. House Cashier possibly making a mistake, taking a lot of turret shot damage here. Just one sliver of a health bar left. Sejuani rolls up and picks up a quick kill. Not sure if there's a little bit of miscommunication there or just a bad input, but Tristana jumps in under the turret to her death after picking up the kill on the solo Jinx.
Very nice indeed. And they were able to pick up the dragon after that as well. I don't think Xin Zhao and Lena are going to be able to contest that with Sejuani having a 3-0 lead. I mean, they could look for a Smite Steal possibly, but the Talon is going to be roaming up right now. Sejuani's not 5 yet. Wait, the TP comes out from Ornn, unless... Oh, it's stopped by Mordekaiser.
Yep, Leona does engage in there, though. Xin Zhao does pick up that dragon, although it is going to be a 3v1 here in the pit. I speak too early. That Casson putting out a good amount of damage, and Talon picks up that kill on Cass. So 2 kills to 1 in favor of blue side there, but the dragon pick up the steal going over to red team.
The dragon pick up and also a humongous shutdown. That was a 600 gold shutdown, by the way, to Cassidon from that Sejuani.
Ooh. You don't want to see that if you're blue. Not at all.
You definitely don't. And the things you have going for you, right, are the Talon did get a kill, although I wouldn't say it was as precious as the 600 gold shutdown. Your bot lane is getting closer to being back in the game, And your top lane has had a lot of pressure. You've stopped the TP. You're going to have that TP advantage. And Mordekaiser's getting close to Riftmaker.
Oh, we do see 2 level 6s coming across for red side early here. Leona ults in and EQs back onto the Jinx. Jinx is forced to flash. She's able to drop trap. She isn't able to catch anybody with it, though. She is barraging red side here with the rockets. But both sides are going to walk away. No harm, no foul. 1 flash blown out of a Jinx and 1 heal blown out of Tristana. The Jinx ult comes across, stops the back. Rakan is going to be able to jump in, knock up 1, and Jinx is going to pick up the 2nd kill there. A really greedy back from red side, not choosing to go into their turret, knowing that Rakan and Jinx were both about to hit 6.
Yeah, I mean, and that was just kind of well played by the Rakan, knowing to use his flash there, and well played by the Jinx to stop the back at the right moment. So, absolutely good pickups from them.
Yep, that's just a little bit of a heads-up play. Again, I'm surprised. I feel like you take the extra 4 seconds, you get yourself safely under turret, and you know that you live there. But they decide to try to take a quick little bit of a shortcut, and they are punished for it. Jinx finally picking up her first kill as we're 10 minutes into the game.
Yep. And now things are going to start to spice up a little bit. Everyone's kind of looking around mid lane, the jungles and the mid laners. Oh, Talon's getting caught out.
Xin Zhao does engage in. All of the cooldowns are blown from Xin and Cassin, but they do pick up a kill on Talon. Just a lot of damage coming in over that he is not able to sustain.
Yes, sir. Mordekaiser still not having Riftmaker just yet. I think he needs about less than 1,000 more gold for it, so that's when he starts to really rev up.
Jinx is really playing a dangerous game here. I do understand that Rakan is coming down, but she has been dove solo twice now in that lane. I'm surprised she's not having flashbacks and playing so far up into that wave.
Yeah, she's like, get me out. Put me against the Ornn or something.
All right, so Sejuani has started up the Rift Herald here. Xin Zhao and Castanen do see her starting on this. Xin Zhao is engaging Castanen as well. Talon coming in tow behind. He's looking to get damage. He has jumped down on top of the Xin Zhao. Ignite goes out. Xin Zhao comes back over the wall to Sejuani, but Sejuani with a great stun and knockup keeps herself alive. Castanen now 1 hit away from being stunned from the Sedge. Castanen trying to flirt in and out of this fight to be able to pick up this kill on Castanen. Talon has to go over the wall himself. Rick comes across. There's just too much damage from blue side here. They've picked up 2 kills. Ornn is now stuck behind the Rift Herald wall, forced to flash. Talon, though, does have a free jump over. They don't realize where the Ornn is gone. Is Ornn actually going to come around and try to get a kill here? What a play. He picks up the plant, going for the heal, but Mordekaiser a little bit more healthy than him for the blue team. Ornn with a great knockup, but it won't be enough. I mean, guys trying to get vision on that Herald, man.
Yeah, that was very poggers. Got a 4-man knockup, but unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. As crazy as that was. Yeah, I was kind of expecting the Mordekaiser to ult the Ornn there whenever the Ornn started throwing the ultimate, but he went for the Cassidy instead, getting rid of a lot of the damage to clean up the rest of the target. So I like that too. And the Ornn ult actually ended up being missed. So good plays by Talon and Sejuani, making it hard to hit.
One difference that I feel like we're also seeing right now between Queen's Gambit and I Can't Believe We Have Girlfriends is the fact that Magic Meat Daddy is really taking it upon himself to try to get more access across the map. As I do say that, though, Xin Zhao is trying to engage in on Talon, who is standing on a ward in the jungle. Xin Zhao wins that trade with over half health. Rakan is trying to chase him down. The Cassin is going to be there for backup. So again, we see Xin Zhao strolling in, looking for a duel in the jungle. He wins almost every 1v1 on this map right now.
Wait a second. Magic Meat Daddy trying to tell husband and wife which one is the husband, which one is the wife.
Well, of course it's Magic Meat Daddy, my friend. But again, we do see Rakan. He's just trying to be a little bit more active across the map. We've seen him engaged in multiple middle and then top side fights. So he's really trying to exert that pressure. Leona didn't pick up mobility boots, so we probably won't see that much from her in the game. They do have vision, though, here on the Sejuani and the Rakan. Both ults are dropped. Tristana trying to get damage across the Sedge, but she is very tanky. They're able to trade 1-for-1. Mordekaiser's coming in, but a TP now coming in from Ornn. Tristana jumping in, now trying to 2v1 and is going to go down to the Talon. Ornn ult knocks up the Talon, though. Talon is jumping across walls to try to get away. Rakan is too slow. He's going to take a brunt of that damage, but now Mordekaiser going in a 3v1, knowing he's strong with the shield. He's picked up his Riftmaker, doing damage. He is living. In comes Talon, comes across the wall. A triple kill for Talon. Holy smokes, that just sent blue side so far into the lead.
Yeah, I mean, this is where their mid game really starts to pop off, right? Mordekaiser has just hit Riftmaker, and their talent is now 7-3. You can't really afford to fight these too much until you sort of get your scaling in from your Kassadin and your Ornn.
I really have to give props to Banana Bread there. The way that he kited through that fight, he had such patience to make sure that he sat out on the side until it was time to come in and do that big banana damage. So congrats, great play to him. In fact, he's playing that team fight just like Kassadin should have been, but Kassadin died a lot sooner.
Okay, so I think Red is probably going to try and slow the game down a little bit here. They don't have any immediate objectives coming up for 3 minutes, so it's probably in their best interest to just hit their level spikes. You know, Ornn really wants to hit to 13 to get his little passive online. Kassadin, of course, wants to hit 16. He's like a mini KO.
He is, and one thing to note, I don't know if we called it, but Blue Side did pick up that second dragon during that skirmish just a few minutes ago. Infernal Soul is going to be our soul this time around. Who does that benefit most, Blue Side or Red Side?
I think it's going to benefit the side that ends up getting it.
Yes.
Well, I'm just saying that because I think that it's going to be a lot harder for Red Side to contest dragons for a bit. But if they keep getting steals like they have been, they could definitely get it. Okay, wait a second.
Sejuani is coming across the wall with Rakan, drops the ult. Rakan is also ulted across as well. Jinx ult is a little bit early, although Sejuani is able to pick up that kill on Turist. The Leona is doing her best to walk away, but it is a 3v1, and the damage comes across. Jinx not picking up her second kill.
Yeah. I think that
they even had vision.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like a good play with a good wombo combo kind of setup. I think that Tristana's going to have to forward since she didn't go for cleanse. She's probably going to need a QSS this game because the way that Sejuani and Rakan are kind of seeing her is going to make it very hard for her to play the game for a bit.
A little bit surprised. Xin Zhao went down the bottom. I assumed that he was going to all-in that Jinx, but he decides to pick up the farm instead. We are starting to see, though, Jinx rockets are starting to really hurt. She was able to apply a lot of that damage to the Tristan and the team fight, and even chunking out Xin Zhao there. So with that Kraken Slayer here and now picking up her attack speed boots, she's a big threat in these sustained team fights.
But going back to what you said earlier about the Infernal Soul, I do think that it is going to be more useful for Red Team slightly, just because by the time you get to that point in the game, they're going to scale up and it's going to help them close out the game.
Oh, look at these trades going down in the mid lane. Kassadin dealing big chunks of damage when his ult is starting to stack.
Absolutely. I mean, Kassadin is trying to get some work done. He has that 400 gold shutdown on Talon right now, and he would love to pick that one up to kind of secure his place in the game.
Look at this. We're starting to see Xin Zhao kind of shadow the Sejuani a little bit more. Sejuani was looking for a gank in the mid lane, but Xin Zhao was there to read and shut that down. Tristana very focused on taking this turret. Might be a little bit too much. Rakan is able to get the ult across and taunt that Trist just too far in. Leona now is just going to get whittled down from this high attack speed Jinx. Jinx went from being very far behind in the first few minutes of this game to now being pretty far ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Tristana basically got first tower for Jinx to basically get a 2-kill lead right there, so not the best. Not the greatest trade that I've seen. Mordekaiser's
Sejuani is sitting up top side, looking for a possible gank if Persona's going to come off of his turret here. Decides against it. She's going to go back over and start working on the Rift Herald as it spawns. And Rakan showing up mid lane.
Yep. Both mid lanes are very safe now. Kassadin just getting that level 11 power spike, so it's going to be very hard to catch him very soon. He doesn't have the... He actually... I don't know what his secondary rune tree is, but his first one is... Maybe he doesn't have any tenacity. He actually has no tenacity in his runes or his builds, so actually the CC from Sejuani and... Rakan could prove fatal to him. I'm a little worried for this Kassadin not taking any tenacity.
What I'm liking, what I'm seeing right here out of Red side is that they are traveling together to get vision. and to deny vision. Not only does that help them start to secure some kills and maybe some advantageous number moments, but they're making sure that they're trying to establish that vision as objectives are starting to come up on the map. As you see right now, the dragon portion of the river into both sides of the jungle is absolutely dominated by red team. They want to fight over this dragon that's spawning in 15 seconds.
Yeah, and they're just kind of waiting for the fight. They're gonna walk into them right here.
Yep, a little bit of fog of war, a gangbang bush. They were able to drop a ward to spot it out just in time. Dragon has spawned. Red side is starting to clear out vision. Rakan is solo on the flank, which is interesting. He's still pretty squishy. But red side's posturing and not fighting. They've started the pull on the dragon. They're going to walk away to de-aggro.
And Mordekaiser's still top with TP, so if they look for a fight soon enough and they get a pick fast enough, I could see it working out for them in their favor.
Yeah, and Mordekaiser has that ward directly in the Dragon Pit. But as I say that, Ornn drops ult a little bit early, isn't able to knock up anybody, though. He picks up a turret topside and immediately teleports into this fight. Sejuani is able to pick up that Dragon kill. Cassidon's able to get the shutdown on Jinx. Talon now going in on the backline and picks up the kill on Cassidon. Rakan with a Duggle knockup on 2, and Talon's damage is just enormous. Fantastic Leona ult, though, to stun that Talon. Ignite comes across. Xin Zhao is able to block the Sejuani ult, but it's not going to be enough. The damage coming out from blue side is just too much. That's going to be a double kill. 4 kills for a 1 in that crazy team fight here. Very split, and poor Ornn. Persona's going to do his best to walk away. Mordekaiser is able to pull him back. A great knockup from Rakan. All 5 members from red side are dead. Yep. They did not secure the dragon.
Yep, it was just kind of beautifully played for the most part. I was a little worried because Mordekaiser waited very long to TP when Dragon was already like almost dead pretty much. I was a little worried for them, and Xin Zhao was proving to do a lot of damage. Like pretty much he was 10%. I thought he was dead, but then the ult Q knockup came out and Talon went from like 70% HP to 10% HP. It almost looked like they turned the fight. It was kind of close.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. And I think without Mord being there, that fight was very close up until the end.
Yeah.
What do you think about lethality Xin Zhao? Tell me a little bit about that build. Is he more of a lethality, or is he do better with a gore drinker lifesteal kind of build? What are your thoughts on that?
There are definitely a few different builds that I've seen from Xin Zhao. And Xin Zhao is one of the best junglers right now in solo queue. And even in pro play, he's being picked up a lot. Now, I can't say everything about his pro play builds. We did see Stridebreaker come out from one of the plat games earlier whenever they had a squishier team and he just needed to have the gap closing. The thing that's really nice about the Eclipse version, which is kind of what I would say is the standard version of Xin Zhao build right now, is that it builds pretty much you're only building Eclipse and no other lethality really. It's just so you have the armor penetration more than it is for the lethality, and it just does the most damage.
Interesting. So he is certainly trying to build to be a damage threat. I don't know if you see Ornn's build. He actually has double Thorn Mail, really hoping to return some damage from those auto attacks. An accidental buy there. Mordekaiser waiting in a bush. He is able to ambush Ornn and certainly win that trade.
Yeah, I mean, Mordekaiser hit him with 2 abilities and like his passive and an auto attack, and Persona's already down to 2/3 HP. He just has no MR, and I think that the double mail is not helping there.
I think once he picks up his 3rd Thorn mail, he'll be in a good spot, but I digress. We do have Baron has spawned. Dragon is going to be up in 2 minutes. Not a lot of objectives to fight over on the map currently, so we're just seeing a lot of posturing of vision across the map. Red has done a fantastic job of securing vision in their top side, making sure that Baron won't be a sneak option for blue team here.
Oh, wait.
Allen and Cassidon dueling in the bot side, but Xin Zhao is lurking in Tribush. He comes up over the wall. We have 4 members of red side chasing down a Talon. Sejuani cleared out some vision on a Baron. Rakan and Jinx are looking to answer. 3 members invested on a failed gank onto Talon.
I mean, they really want that shutdown. That 500 gold. If they give that to Cassidon or Tristana, I think that they're going to be in a good... Even Xin Zhao, honestly. They have a lot of damage threats, so if they can find a pick, that's what they should be looking for, because they have not won a singular team fight in the past, like, 15 minutes.
Yeah, we do see a pretty substantial gold lead coming in for blue side. They're up over 7, almost 8k now. which is going to be really, really hard for Red Team to come back with, in my opinion. Obviously, Red Team should know that they are behind currently. What do you think their plan is? What is their strategy to get them back into this game?
I really think, like I said, it's going to be all based on levels. When Casson hits 16, that's huge. When Ornn is able to give everyone their items, that's going to be huge. And they have to pick up these shutdowns at some point. Maybe one by one. Mordekaiser is going to be a hard one to take down. Talon's going to be a hard one to take down. Sejuani, it's just because she's going to be tanky and she's not going to be solo split somewhere. So it's going to take a little bit. But the good thing is that you got one of those early dragons, so you don't have to worry about them, getting soul right now. You guys can kind of just chill out a little bit. Make sure your Caston is getting to where he needs to be. You kind of just need to slow the game out for as long as possible.
Yeah, and right now they're doing a good job of stalling. Blue team hasn't really forced any objectives here. Obviously, they did pick up that second turret in mid lane, but right now they're kind of slowing down, wanting to try to play this dragon objective game. They do see Casson stacking up his ultimates, getting ready to come in and do this team fight. Dragon has spawned, and Blue team has 5 members, and they are starting just Jinx and Sejuani here on the Dragon. Ornn ult is starting this team fight. He's able to knock up the Jinx and the Sedge, but there was really no follow-up from the rest of his team as Mordekaiser comes across and ults away the Xin Zhao. We do see a pretty wide team fight here. Casson coming in, trying to do damage against the Talon and the Jinx in the back line. Talon's able to come across over the wall. The shutdown is picked up on the Casson as they trade kills. Tristana is the last one alive, and Jinx is going to hunt them down.
Ooh.
Wow.
QSS not being enough to save them, and then blue team is looking to pick up a 4-for-1 and go straight to Baron to top it off. This is why I was worried about red team contesting that dragon. Even if they got the dragon, I don't think there's any world in which they win the team fight. And Mordekaiser, prior to being in that fight versus Ornn was level 13 and Mordekaiser was level 15 at the start of it. So you already knew, like, hey, we just need to get our levels up. Ornn's only not been able to give items out to everyone. And Caston still has a 16 where he's really going to pop off. Like, he did get the shutdown on Talon, which is the one good thing. But I think the gold you gave away and the tempo, more importantly, that you're giving to the enemy team is way too dramatic. Because even if the enemy team doesn't pick up soul, they can now look to be pressuring inhib towers with this Baron.
And you say that the shutdown is important, but it's too far too soon at this point. They have a 10,000, almost 11,000 gold lead at 26 minutes. It was a really interesting team fight that Ornn engaged, almost seemed really disjointed from the rest of his team. He popped that ult. I mean, obviously we see Mordekaiser going in a 4v1 just trying to keep the Xin Zhao out from smiting, but there was nobody there to follow up the Ornn.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that them being so far behind makes it a little less confident in the decisions you decide to make. So there is that, obviously. And
we do see Talon now trying to play his own game of vision denial. He ulted onto the Casson. Not enough to even get him at half health. Talon's just looking to play with his prey at this point in time.
And Caston's just playing it very slow. He's hit level 14. Now he knows that Talon doesn't have ult for a little bit, although it does have a pretty short cooldown. Meanwhile, in mid lane, tier 3 tower has just gone down.
We do see Xin Zhao, though, coming in on the flank, possibly looking to engage a fight. Casson and Leona are both behind blue side here. Mordekaiser is now just dueling, and Talon is split pushing. It's a 1-3-1 for blue side. As to them trying to all in the Talon, he is forced to pop his Zhonya's here. Both are going to walk away alive, but again, Talon with that Baron pressure, as the rest of his team is picking up the middle inhibitor and turret for red team. And look at that, Ornn ult again comes across, knocks up a couple, but there's no engage to follow him up, and they get out scot-free.
Alright, Ornn finally opting to sell the Warden's Mail and maybe finish the Thorn Mails at this point. We're getting a little closer. Mordekaiser's hit 16. He is just going to be very ridiculously strong in the top lane.
Yeah, I think that blue team did a great job there, understanding they have that Baron power play. They set up the 1-3-1. They literally secured 1, 2, 3 turrets and an inhibitor with that and managed to lose absolutely nobody. Their Mordekaiser and their Talon are too strong to lose in those 1v1 matchups, and with Jinx's range, there's nothing they can do to stop her from sieging their base.
Okay.
Oh, Talon, a little bit aggressive here, is deciding to go into the base of red side. He is going to get shut down. A little bit of a confusing play, to say the least. Jinx ult is trying to pick up some medium health targets, but not enough to land a kill here. We do see Leona accidentally going in on Sejuani there. She's forced to flash away to keep herself alive. And the rest of Red Side is doing their best just to try to keep their base from falling apart.
Oh, but Mordekaiser's gonna get the ultimate there.
Yep, and we do see, oh my gosh, that damage from Mordekaiser on the Tristana is absolutely disgusting. Flashes and lands a beautiful Q for that kill on Triss. Mordekaiser now still fighting in that 2v1. We now look down bottom side where there's a Rakan and Sejuani attempting to fight a Kassadin and Xin Zhao. They are not able to win that fight. Turret still goes down, and their top side is bleeding. Their base now in shambles. They have 2 inhibitors down, 1 inhibitor left open, and just 1 inhibitor, 2 turrets between blue team and the enemy nexus.
Yeah, and I think Mordekaiser ulted that Tristana, and Tristana Q assessed it immediately. So I think he's gonna have to look for a different ult target for now. But even then, he still won the fight without his ultimate.
He won the fight. I mean, he was in there 2v1, 3v1 for a good portion of time. So right now, it just feels like the people who need gold on blue side have it. And in fact, everybody has it. So
In fact, everyone.
It's going to be pretty tough for Red Team to come back here,
Yeah,
though. They do get the benefit of having the super minions come into base, a little bit of gold income to try to get that casted into level 16, like you're saying, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, they do definitely have not known the struggle. Blue team has been rich for a while, and they've been able to meet all of their high-class needs with this Infernal Soul, in fact. So it's going to be now a very, very tall task for the enemy team to come back.
Yeah, and it looks like we're seeing blue side just deciding to group up. They have Infernal Soul. Sejuani jumps forward, tries to get the ult. Nobody is stunned. Everyone's able to walk out. But they now have all 5 members in the bot side looking to take down this 3rd and final inhibitor. Red team is finally regrouped. We might have one final fight before the end of this game. Right now, both teams are just posturing, letting the waves walk in. Blue team wants to have as many supers in the middle of this team fight as possible. Talon's going to ult early here and look to engage in on the Xin Zhao. Rakan with a nice knockup, but Xin Zhao knocks everybody away with his ultimate. We do see Hottest Cashier on Tristana taunted and forced to jump out of the fight, so we have no damage from Red Side's AD carry coming in across the board, though. However, Blue Side is grouped in on top of each other. We see a lot of low health targets, but Red Side doesn't have enough to secure any of these kills. It is going to be a pretty easy cleanup for here for Blue Side as they're looking to engage. Jinx is kind of 2v1ing the Leona Kassadin. 1 turret falls, the 2nd turret falls. Red team is trying to fight, and it looks like that's the end of the game, folks.
Oh, yep, it does seem to be the case. I'm going to have to leave that manually. Yeah, pretty decisive victory, I would definitely say, for Queen's Gambit Black, correct? They were blue side? Yes. All right.
Yes.
Have to get used to these new teams and these new team names. But yes, Queen.
Yeah, I mean, that was beyond decisive. I mean, they lost only 1 dragon over the course of that entire game. I believe they secured both Rift Heralds and the only Baron, and only lost what? How many turrets did they get knocked out? 2? Pretty impressive win there from Queen's Gambit.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and start setting up the lobby, but if I was the team of Gray here, I would have to start thinking about what it is that we need to do to win this next fight. You guys are not out of it yet, so it's just a question of what is the change that needs to happen. Was it end game? Is it end draft? What do you think, MagicMan?
I think that's tough. I think that the bans that came across from Queen's Gambit were targeted, obviously, towards the jungler early. I think that Carry Bear showed that he was more than competent on Xin Zhao and actually really kind of paved the way for some of those early wins and trades. So I don't think that the jungle is where the issues were. I think Ornn really struggled in the top lane, and that lane got out of hand. And I think that the bot side for Gray, can't believe we have girlfriends, needs to kind of find a way to get a lead and run with that. Because when you have a Tristana, Leona lane that doesn't absolutely crush, you're going to be very far behind that Jinx. So In my vote, I think you take the kills level 2 and you just try to push a lead harder and harder and harder. But from draft side of things, I don't really know what you do different.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, things went south a little bit whenever we looked at one of the first few ganks that happened where Talon Sejuani kind of got ahead, and that was kind of the momentum was shifted from there. And I feel like they try to contest too many things from Gray's side. So if we are gonna looking to contest and team fight on all of these early dragons and everything in between, then I think we should just pick a different comp that is not so scaling.
Yep, I agree with you. Maybe even just transitioning that Catherine out to something that can really try to duel that Talon early. Because I feel like if Catherine was able to roam or apply as much pressure as that Talon, that game goes a lot differently.
Absolutely. So I am gonna go ahead and set up. It is the ways. Uh, Let me make sure that I have the rule book here to make sure I know how to do everything because I am supposed to be up to date on how the side selection is picked.
And everybody, this is Gold Lead, so we are back to best of threes. We're going into game 2 now. Of course, Queen's Gambit, Team Gap Black Gold secured game number 1. So right now we're trying to see Gray as they try to come in, pick up their first win, and possibly take the series to game 3. Looks like Gray is posturing for blue here, for blue side. Banana bread. Hey, yo, what's up, brother? Can I cop some J's? Not for me. All right, so it looks like we're just trying to get everybody in the correct team size here before draft is started for game 3. Wade, do you need help getting that draft up for the
I
second one?
am getting it right now.
Perfect.
Why can't it just be automated?
I know. It would be easier.
Why can't
I feel like
everything be done for me?
I should do something to help you. You're like the stream guy and you do everything, and I just sit here and say dumb things.
Okay, so they are trading sides.
Yo, what kind of Jordan 4s you got, Banana Bread? I got a pair of the Motorsports. That's all I got in 4s. I think. Yeah, the Motorsport 4s are the only 4s I got. And Ang Z Gaming got some Jordan 1s. What kind of J's you got, brother? Fill me in.
Okay, well, hopefully I've done it right, and we'll see if I get any complaints in the near future. But the new draft is up and, well, not running for them, but it is available. So they'll be getting on it soon. Um, yeah, their draft wasn't terrible, so I don't think they have to switch anything up. It's just going to be I think they probably will switch things up, just to try out new things and see what works. They're just the first game of the entire series for them, for Gray. So they have a little bit of time to kind of figure out what's going to be useful and perhaps just like testing the waters, so to speak.
Yeah, and one thing to really I think goes towards their favor that game was vision control. Um, Blue side or Team Black had done a good job of trying to keep track of that Zinzao early, but pretty much past the 8-minute mark, um, Team Gray had vision superiority across the majority of the map. So I got to give my shout outs to them. There was a part where I think I literally saw 5 individual pink wards, which is mind boggling to me after playing solo queue and being the only one who buys a single pink ward. So props to that. I mean, that's a battle within and of itself. They
it
obviously have a new team with new sets of players. They're trying to find their identity and what works for them. That's what the early part of the season's all about.
All right, I think they're about to get ready. Yeah, I know. Like you were saying, I love the vision control that they were having, even as they're losing. I would say that they didn't have a bad time, trying to set up for dragons and stuff. I'm not sure if contesting it was the right idea, but everything about how they played for vision was very good.
Yeah, and I think that that's something that's super, super important.
Oh, am
Back when I
I
was playing League on a
control?
team, I just shouted at people to buy Vision Right. That was my favorite thing to do. So I love, love, love when I see teams buying pink warts.
It's like, ah, yes, all those times where I shouted has finally made it into the upper echelons of solo queue play. Now listen
I
to
remember
me.
who it was. I think it was Soviet who said it's your job as a support player to scream at your team until they buy awards, and then your job is done. So I think that is the true support lifestyle and mentality. Right. Everyone is just getting into LCS order. Draft will hopefully be up and started soon.
Yep. Let me. I want to have the rule book ready. You know, it's kind of like, yeah. You ever been in You ever had that one social studies teacher who's like, I'll always carry around my like pocket like Constitution or whatever, right? Like they just like instantly whip it out and they're like, well, Section 2, Article 2. You ever known that person?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I want to just be ready for anything that might happen so we can keep it streamlined.
And I'm pretty sure the Team Gap rulebook is almost as long as our Constitution, so that's probably a pretty good thing to be carrying around in a pocket-sized version. One thing I think that we also should note here is Team Gap Gold Gray, or I cannot believe we have girlfriends, is actually playing with the sub, but one of their players is also playing in an off role. I believe Hottest Cashier NA is showing as their top laner in their normal team composition. So that might also be why we're seeing a little bit of possibly a struggle from them if he's playing in a role that he is not as strong in, just to kind of allocate a better time for their sub. That's something to kind of note as well.
Okay, I've been told I did the draft wrong, so I am going to go ahead and fastly remake that for the teams. So just got the names wrong, but I don't want to have it like too confusing for people. So
You got to find a way to abbreviate "we have girlfriends." Maybe
I'm
it
I'm
is
just
just "we
making it
have
black and blue
girlfriends."
for I'm just making it black and gray for now.
Okay.
I think that's the way to go about it.
I can't believe we have girlfriends. What is that? I can't believe we have girlfriends. I think we got to start calling them ICBWHG. Obviously, that rolls off the tongue a little bit easier. Something that Rallion can put on a jersey. Kind of checks
True.
every box there.
True, absolutely true. I would love to see that on a jersey or something. But we are just now getting started with the draft. Let me go ahead and pull that up. And
All right. So you said Gray's biggest advantage or one of their turning points really could be the way that they draft. So I had a chance to kind of speak to it, and my answer was I don't know what they do differently in draft. Other than the change in the mid lane, do you think that we're going to see any bans coming across from Gray that will be different than game number one?
Talon is a
I asked that question,
historic.
and we do not.
We do not, but Talon is a historic counterpick to Kassadin. Throughout all the league, that's one of the oldest counterpicks in the book that I don't think has changed really, at all. So, if they and I know that mid lane husband versus wife, I think is his name now, and loves playing Kassadin. So maybe they pick it at a different part in draft and then ban the Talon, or maybe they just wait for counterpick. They've switched sides. So them being able to have they were red and now they're blue side, right? Them maybe they can prio pick something. So they've actually picked up the Rakan on blue side. Rakan 100% pick rate for blue side.
Yeah, interesting here. So we see if this Leona is locked in, the supports just literally swapping teams here. Black has decided to pick up the Leona Jinx, which I kind of hearkened in that first draft that I like that lane a little bit more than Jinx Rakan. So that's going to be a scary lane for them to fight against. But the almost immediate answer is going to be that Xayah and Rakan pairing, the notorious feathered duo with extended range, extended damage, and
That,
good
that
looks in the bot
that's
side.
Cashier Zaya, right? I feel like this is a and they picked up the Sejuani too. So far they've picked up a quarter or a third of the enemy's draft from last game, and pairing the Zaya to go with it. That's just feels to me like those are a couple. The Zaya is just a comfort pick, right?
Yeah, I know that Cashier plays a good Vayne. I think, in fact, he was one of the members that was featured in our hype up video for Gold League this time around. But he does also have a good KDA and win rate on Xayah from last split. So, and regardless, that's just a strong lane in general. So, definitely want to take a look and kind of keep watching this bot lane to see where the aggression and the fights are going to come out, who comes across ahead. Nunu, though, picked up for Team Black. Team Gap Gold Black. I'm not going to fall into this trap again with you, Twitch chat. What do you think about Nunu? Is he strong in the current meta? What is your kind of read on that?
I think that he's perfectly fine in Gold League as a very early game aggressive jungler, but I like Xin Zhao a lot more than I like Nunu, because Nunu is just much more telegraphed in how his ganking patterns are, and I feel like Xin Zhao is able to kind of do more mid to late game, although they are kind of different roles, right? Nunu is kind of more of a tank. So as far as a tank goes with early game presence, I think he's fine for the Gold League. I just think that it comes down to preference. And if the enemy team does realize where the Nunu wants to be, it is usually not too hard to just kind of stay out of the way of the Nunu's ganking patterns, if that's possible.
That makes sense. We do have our bans finished up across the board. Gray has finished up their bans by banning the Mordekaiser, obviously the big threat from last game, and a Silas, which is most likely a comfort pick for Team Gap Black. Black returned the favor by banning Cho'Gath and Rise and picking up Wukong, who, from what I can tell, is now also one of our stronger champions in solo queue and pro play currently.
Absolutely. Poppy is just like that one counter pick to Wukong that you can pick, and also it's just kind of annoying, right? Like as Wukong, you want to go in, you want to throw your ultimate, and then Poppy just says nope to you, and then when you dash in, and then she also just punts you like 50 yards back like a football, and all of a sudden you're not there at your team fight where you guys were expecting to be.
Yeah, and Black again have kind of gone with another Wombo combo combination. Obviously, we didn't get the Orianna. We got the Talon last game, which wasn't as strong of a Wombo, but a Wukong, Leona, Jinx. And look at that, Orianna flashing again. We'll have to confirm if this is a Talon or not. But
is that a Xerath? I don't know. They were flashing the Xerath. So hopefully.
But they really haven't identified comp that they're wanting to run. They're comfortable on these Wombo combo team fight oriented comps.
Yeah,
I really, really like Wukong here a lot more than the Ornn pick last game. They have a lot of great damage threats.
Yeah, I mean Wukong was literally top one laner last patch, and even though he's went down a little bit, he's still one of the best comp picks I think for this sort of style. You have the Jinx Ori pairing, you have your tanky jungler Nunu this time instead of Sejuani because I took it from you. So obviously that's going to pose to make your comp a little bit weaker. Gray's comp is also very interesting to me. It feels very like a lot of different things kind of put together. MagicMan, while I go ahead and talk about that, can you do me a favor? And this time you can go ahead and make the prediction for game number 2 of Gray versus Black. Doing
absolutely
in the Twitch chat. Let me know if you need help over there on that side. But yeah, I want to say that Twisted Fate is actually a very multifaceted champion. Now, obviously, you could see him played a lot and having a lot of split potential once he hits 6 with going top and bottom. Very often, kind of like a Galio, but he plays as a kind of more damage dealing and less of like having a taunt and playing more front to back. He can still play front to back actually quite well, stunning out the people so that his AD carry can get what they want on them and just kind of be like a stun bot every 3 or 4 seconds it comes up late game. So there's a few different styles you can actually play TF, and the reason why I mention that is because I don't really think that their team is going to play a 1-3-1 style. I think they're just going to play for team fights for flanks, and maybe they can do something where the Poppy ults half their team away, and the rest of their team is able to stun lock the team into a good Xayah, Sejuani, Twisted Fate, Rakan little combo right there, and win team fights that way.
Yeah, and what I really like about the adaptation that Gray made this time around was by taking the Sejuani, they secured themselves a jungler who will have an easier time getting those ganks in. I don't think Carry Bear had any problem dueling with people, but some of his ganks were very ineffective, especially against that Talon who was able to escape relatively easily. So Sejuani shoring up that weakness a bit by just having someone with a dash and more CC. And then the second thing that we see as an adaptation for them is this Twisted Fate. And like you were saying, there's different styles to play Twisted Fate, but the one thing that he'll always bring is that global pressure.
Yep.
So we did see a lot of roaming from Talon in game one. Now the sides have flip-flopped. We're most likely going to see a lot more roaming coming out of the Twisted Fate than we will the Orianna. So they've tried to identify a couple of possible weaknesses across that game and change the way that that's going to work out for them with these different picks.
Last game we said that there was a lot of AP damage coming out from the team of the Jinx. And this time, I think they have a better damage spread. And also, the enemy team does not look to have a very good, very bursty, or very high damage team in general. So it's going to be up to their Wombo or their Xayah to provide almost the entirety of their damage.
But she's also an AD carry that has a very good chance to do that, right? She has a lot of AoE damage that can be applied to many people in a team fight with her feathers. Her ultimate is her oh shit button to get her out of some of those scary scenarios. So I'm kind of excited to watch how this folds out.
Yeah, it's and this bot lane is the Rakan Xayah bot lane versus the Leona Jinx bot lane. Last time you said that you liked the Leona for just having that engage, being a little stronger against Rakan. And do you think anything's changed in this matchup?
I think early on, Jinx Leona does have the advantage in that lane, pretty much 1 through 3. But once we get into that 5 and above range, I feel like Xayah should be able to outdamage that duo, especially if she isn't the one that gets locked down by the Leona. So um, I'm hoping to see a little bit less of a one-sided lane and a lot more dueling coming out of the bot side at least.
Yeah, we'll have to see that for sure.
Yeah, I thought I set predictions for like 3 minutes, but they are already closed. We only had one vote, so I might actually rerun.
Yeah, I think you can
I
just
don't
go
know if
ahead
I
and rerun the predictions for about 5 minutes and call it good there. My prediction here is going to be that the Jinx team is going to pull through again, just out of pure comp and macro objective. I'm not sure that Gray has really picked a better team fight oriented team, and I do know they love contesting objectives. So it's if I'm wrong though, I imagine it's going to come out from the Xayah, possibly just being able to mechanically play very well in all the team fights and get a lot of damage in somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that Twisted Fate should also be able to apply a lot of damage, and I think that they kind of have the onus to start a lot of these team fights. As long as Nunu isn't snowballing from a mile away to engage these fights, Sejuani and TF have a really good synergy to come and gank together in these lanes and make things happen.
Yeah.
The moment that Twisted Fate hits 6.
Yeah, I actually do like the Nunu Jinx Ori like quite a bit. I feel like
Yeah.
it's not the absolute best combo, but it feels like a discount LCS combo almost, where it's just something that is a little easier, I think, to pull off,
Yep.
and a little less. Uh, uh, I would say that it is more consistent at the level of play that we're seeing. That Nunu's going to be able to find a lot of ganks, and he's just going to be able to frontline very well for the Jinx Orianna and make sure to shore up any early game weakness that they could have at the same time, which tends to be a very big problem. And like we literally saw that the Jinx literally died early. I think it was like first blood either her or the top lane, but either way, it was very early on, and that was almost close and kind of losing their lane entirely out of that. And after that, it was the Sejuani Talon that had to bail out the rest of the team by having some really good fights. So it was a little risky, but I think with the Nunu and having the Leona Jinx, like you've mentioned, is just going to make it a lot easier for them to not get beat out in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. There's just a lot, I think, easier, accessible damage from Queen Gambits here. So, really, again, I feel like this game is going to come down to the early game on if anybody makes any really large mistakes that they're not going to be able to come back from. We kind of did see that in game one, although Jinx did recover from some of those early mistakes. So, gonna be fun to watch to say the least. Do you mind going ahead and streaming to me in Discord as well?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Sorry, everybody. There's always like a 2 to 3 second delay between my spectate and our streamers, and I just want to make sure I'm not casting from the future or from too far behind. We do see a familiar start from game one. It's looking like a couple of 5 points looking to guard entrances into each other's jungles. We do see Nunu dropping that early vision down onto the blue buff, similar to last game where the ward was dropped into their enemy's red buff.
Okay, and gray. Black was a team that got the first game win.
Yes.
All right.
Now, wait, maybe fill me in a little bit more on the presence of jungle. We do see these early wards always coming over from Queen's Gambit to, I would assume, try to help them keep track of the enemy jungler. When you have a little bit slower of a jungle like a Sejuani, is it as important to force that vision, or do you find that it's easier to track junglers like Sejuani or like a Nunu?
Yeah, so they did again get the vision on the blue buff. It's not a bad thing to have. I would just say it's more important to have whenever you know the enemy can do a strong level 2 gank. Against Sejuani, it just lets you... The difference here is that the Nunu wants to be able to contest the scuttle that Sejuani is going for, right? Because Nunu is a better early game jungler than Sejuani. Yep. So the important thing about knowing when the enemy jungler starts is you can actually double scuttle if you're not going to be looking for necessarily a gank. I don't think it matters that much, though, as opposed to Xin Zhao, because you're going to be more focused on getting your ganks in before the Sejuani and making sure that the side that does have the Sejuani on it, just, don't let that gank. It's not as scary as a Nunu gank, so I don't think you have as much to worry about.
Now, color me a little bit surprised. Well, I'm going to stop that right now. Rakan has engaged and knocks up both Jinx and Leona, but nothing comes from it. I can't tell you how many times I played a solo queue game in the bot lane to have the enemy Nunu literally gank me after blue buff every single time. And I am surprised we didn't see an early gank either bottom or mid lane from that Nunu. He is trying to prioritize getting farm here, but I love how disruptive Nunu can make games early, so a little bit sad to see that.
It's something that he could have went for against Sejuani specifically, because Sejuani's not... Sejuani doesn't have any chance to... invade the enemy jungle, but actually this Sejuani is able to clear her top side and go to the top lane gank before the enemy. This could be looking for a...
Yep, and we do see Wukong engage in here. Poppy with an excellent job of stopping the clone, but Wukong's burst is just too much. She is going to drop before the Sejuani is able to come into that lane. Nunu now is also coming up to contest this scuttle to make sure that Sejuani can't secure that and keep his top laner safe.
Yeah.
So really heads up play there from Wukong.
I feel like it was a little bit of a miscommunication or a misplay from the Sejuani and Poppy, because the thing is that you didn't see Nunu gank anywhere else, so you know that Nunu is going to be coming top soon. You have to finish that gank off as soon as possible, and I feel like Sejuani waited too long. And that's what allowed Wukong to get the kill right there. If she just gets the early pressure off, even if it doesn't end up in a kill, that's fine. But now that the Wukong is basically killed and gotten away with murder literally in the top lane while Sejuani was watching, now it's very rough.
Rakan has roamed up to try to catch this Nunu out, securing the scuttle. There's going to be a little bit of a skirmish in the mid lane, but no one is going to go down yet. I say that, though, Rakan and Sejuani are now on the hunt in this mid lane. Orianna is forced to walk out of her lane up towards the Wukong for support. Orianna does have no mana, but in comes Wukong, and a flank from Nunu here. Tries to land a snowball, isn't able to knock anybody up. Sejuani says, "I'm not falling for your tricks, Monkey King," and he is focusing all of his attention on the Orianna. There is a flash-to-flash trade that Sejuani picks up a kill on the Ori. Nunu and Wukong are now brawling out in a 4v1. Nunu's going to fall to Sejuani. Sejuani picking up 2 kills here. Wukong, though, picking up the Twist of Fate, who roamed a little bit late to this fight. Leona and Wukong are now against the world here. We see Sejuani with lower and lower health. Wukong is able to get a shutdown literally 5 minutes into this game onto the Sejuani, and now they are dueling back and forth. Oriana has come back from being dead to rejoin the fight with a teleport, and red team has picked up 3 kills for 2 in a crazy early game skirmish.
That fight went on for so long that somebody died and came back to the fight, and it's 5 minutes in.
Yeah, and one thing to really take note there is Sejuani is the one who picked up both of those kills there, where the rest of the kills pretty much went across to Wukong and Oriana. So the gold allocation based on that team fight alone is much better for red side than it was for blue.
Yeah, I don't even know how exactly to say that. Okay, they're even going to go ahead and pick up the dragon because of this, so that's obviously a really good pickup and a good TP by the Oriana to even out that fight, because I don't think they're going to win it without that. And neither top laner was burning TP there, so that was kind of the issue of having TF with Ignite and just kind of having to stay in the fight the whole time with kind of low HP. But I would say overall, it looks like the blue side, when we started that fight off, it looked good for them, but they just took too long to chase down the Ori, even though they had all the pressure and the kind of the pincer looked good. They just, I guess the CDs weren't up in time, and then the fight went on forever.
Really did. I'm surprised for how long that AngZ Gaming was able to stay alive in those skirmishes, really trying to show that strength of Wukong in the early game. His burst damage seems to be pretty over the top in these team fights, and he's now 3 kills in the lead over his opposing laner. We do see Nunu coming in with a snowball in the mid lane. TF is slowed, is stunned, is going to get a fantastic gold card on the Oriana, who had to take turret aggro from the Nunu. And husband versus wife, really heads up play. Really good job staying sane and walking out and securing that gold card right at the perfect time.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a misplay from the Oriana right there. She had flash up, and the ball was actually so far behind her that I think mechanically what she had to do there was flash out of range of the ball so it returns to her and then get the Q off on the TF. But a little bit hard to see in the moment of the game right there, I'm sure. And it did end up being turned around to Nunu's, to TF's favor. But otherwise, it would have looked like an amazing gank from Nunu right there that TF had gotten caught out for.
Yeah, but really good job. Heads up play, deciding to stay calm in the moment. He picks up a kill. And that's pretty good for them because right now Oriana had picked up 1 kill. TF now has 1 kill to try to match in that gold. So hopefully TF will be able to accelerate and we'll start to see those roaming level 6 ganks coming out of him soon.
Okay. Leona getting some vision out there acquired on the map for her team. They have that top pixel bush warded, and looks like she's going to go ahead and roam over for the rift. So you see a lot of supports have been doing this since our last series, looking for that early rift play to just get as much as we can, since they know the enemy hasn't been able to trade for it, and they have a strong bot lane, a strong Leona. Why not go for it?
Well, here we see the Wukong engaging in on the Poppy, dropping the ult. Leona doesn't feel strong enough to dive that Poppy early, and Poppy's going to walk out without having to ult herself. Nunu is trying to clear vision, and they might group as 3 to go towards this Rift Herald, but Sejuani is also in the area.
Yeah, I think, the Poppy is going to be able to TP back now, and now Wukong with no ult is looking a little bit riskier, but no support roam to match the Leona. I think they're just going to be able to get that Rift for free. Oh, wait a second. Leona's going back down bot lane, and Sejuani's coming back in.
Yep, and Nunu was forced to eat early to try to save on HP. Here comes the TF ult. It's Oriana Leona walking in up towards this TF. TF is stunned. Wukong is doing his best to just survive through that backline and get on top of the TF there. Leona picking up the 2nd kill in this extended fight. Nunu was the first to fall. Oriana now this time getting the ball into the middle of this fight. Poppy is low on health. Both her and Wukong are flashing over the wall. Wukong picks up that kill. Leona's deciding to back another 2-4-1 in the favor of red team.
Oh, it's a little bit of a heartbreaker for for Gray right now. Like, it actually did not look that bad. This is when he was able to get the kill on the Nunu right before anything happened because Leona was walking down. But then they got a little overstayed their welcome, and the enemy team was able to just push them back again.
Exactly. And right now, all of the gold for Team Black here is literally focused on that Wukong. So anytime he gets to be in a fight with the Poppy, he is going to outshine. We do see a gank, though, coming in from Sejuani, mixed with a gold card. Orianna does try to ult to stay alive, but it won't be enough, and Orianna will fall, and TF has now picked up his second kill of the game.
Yeah, I think that mid and jungle this game for Gray side have kind of picked it up this game and being a lot better at getting that early game pressure. And even Sejuani is up and everything but 8 CS to the Nunu, which is something you don't really see very often this early.
Yeah, Sejuani does a really good job of farming out her camps and then responding to these objectives where it feels like Nunu has almost been dancing around a little bit too much to try to be involved in some of these ganks. I do see that Leona has roamed up. She forces her ult to stun the TF, lands an EQ. In comes the Nunu with a snowball to knock out the TF. Not much you can do there in that wombo combo of CC, and TF will fall.
Yeah, and TF is not going to have an ult for another like 15 seconds or so whenever he's back up. Maybe a little bit longer. So they could go and sneak a drag in the meantime. Nunu recognizing that and just trying to look for a top lane gank in the meantime.
Yep, blue team does exactly what you say. They have grouped up and are looking to pick up their first dragon of the game, which will be Water Drake. And we are seeing now an Infernal, our second game in a row. Infernal Stroll making your team fight that much stronger. 1-for-1 dragons. So Wukong has also finished his Divine Sunder, which is crazy strong at the moment. So I can't imagine that he's going to want to look to fight as much as possible.
Okay.
Magic Meat Daddy is engaging over the wall. It is a 4v3 for red team here. Good damage coming across on the Orianna. Wukong is teleported down in. Lots of low health bars on blue team side as Wukong is getting ults across multiple people. Jinx is able to free fire from the backside. And wow, it is a 3-for-1 again in favor of red team, who just seems to get these advantageous start to fights, and they're able to come out on top.
And like you said with the Wukong wanting to fight, the Wukong immediately recognized the fight was going to go down bot lane and TP to that far ward behind their bush. And I think this is what it comes down to now, is that it's too easy for them to start the fight and the enemy team is not kind of respecting that enough. I think they're being a little bit too far forward, and the Xayah and the Rakan need to be able to dish out damage while kiting backwards a little bit better here. I'm not sure what needs to happen. I'm not saying it's their fault, but that's I feel like what needs to happen at this stage in the game for them to start winning fights.
Sejuani and Rakan are trying to ult and engage into the turret as the Xayah is on the way, though. Rakan with a very low health bar. Sejuani now taking the brunt of all the damage. A pickup goes over to Xayah as one kill comes across. The feathers are going over, and it looks like Jinx might fall. A good slow from the Nunu there will keep the Jinx alive as Nunu's trying to run for his life. He has a speedy boy, but Rakan comes over the wall and lands the knockup. They're trying to give this kill over to the Xayah so bad, but Sejuani picks up that kill right there at the end of the team fight. But two shutdowns now going over to blue side to get a little gold in their pockets.
So if the Wukong is not there, ooh, a little Jinx ult coming down to the bottom lane, but the snipe was a little bit off right there, didn't have the aim assist. Now, but as I was saying, that fight looked a lot better without having the Wukong there, and as long as a Xayah can live to keep kiting backwards or forwards and dealing the damage, it's fine. But they're gonna have to at some point be able to contest this Wukong that's coming up.
Well, and the red team does have a gold lead, but the most substantial gold lead literally is in the top side. Wukong with over a 2k gold lead on the Poppy, but everybody else from blue side has a gold lead on their counterpart to red. So you're right, if Wukong is not able to be a part of these fights, there's not much that they can do. They actually should have a winning advantage. Poppy now is kind of dancing around the CC of red side here. Persona not giving 2 Fs. Wukong decides to ult across the team. The stun comes across on the Wu. Everyone's going in on the clone. Wukong with another good knockup. He's trying to walk away with a sliver of health. He is able to get under turret, but Poppy is able to follow up on him. Leona tries to come and ult across the rest of the team to snare them and keep them in place, but it's not enough. A double kill going over to Xayah here. TF has ulted as well. He is dueling the Orianna and picks up the gold card to secure the kill. So now we're seeing blue pumping the gas and trying to engage these team fights.
Yeah, and that was an amazing shutdown that went over to the Xayah there on the Wukong. Just as I said that, they were able to find basically what was a pick on the Wukong before the rest of his team could get there. And that's really what they needed. And the enemy team has to be more aware of having everyone there for the team fights and kind of get ready for them to just kind of walk up and look for those fights as much as they can. Remember, they had
Now
the
it's
TF
pretty
and they had the global
Yeah, and
presence.
what's pretty cool here about these team fights are, yes, the Sejuani has 4 kills of their 11, which is not exactly where you want the gold, but she's able to facilitate these fights where Zaya is literally free hitting in the back line. So a lot of damage and good oriented control in these fights, and now they've swung themselves into a gold lead, and their gold is oriented on the AD carry and on the mid lane, and not just on the top laner like it is for red side here.
Absolutely, Magic Man. Yep, the gold is where they want it. As far as their damage dealer goes, and Wukong is still extremely scary. Do not get me wrong; he can still pose a threat, but it is just going to be a lot more manageable now that Zaya has kind of been able to pick up a few more items, few more components, and the TF is going to have. What's actually really nice is that the Poppy, if all the gold is on Wukong, right, the Poppy could theoretically just ult the Wukong away, and they could win the team fight.
As you say that, we do see some back and forth trading here. There's going to be a good engage and damage coming across from red side. They're able to pick up one, now 2 members of blue team. Ult's coming across from Zaya, but the damage is just a little bit too strong. Twisted Fate not even in that team fight. And red team comes away with another 2 for 0 team fight here. So red turning that gas right back on against blue side here and trying to fight these fights where they feel like they have an advantage. And when you're fighting in the jungle with a wombo combo comp, you certainly do.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what TF really would have offered that team fight. It just feels like their wombo is a little strong. So, even the Poppy is probably the second tankiest member on the team right now to Sejuani. Just getting deleted after the Orianna, Wukong, Nunu, and just the Jinx layering the CC or layering the damage in the back.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and I think that what we're seeing is kind of something that's been a staple of Gray Team or Black last season is they just love to fight. So we're going to keep seeing that this game. They feel like they're in a better spot gold-wise, so they're going to keep trying to force these fights like they have a lead. But Team Black Queen Gambit is doing a fantastic job of answering that and grouping up for very strong choice fights here, like we just saw.
Yep, it's
Rift.
kind of slowing down a little bit. Yeah, Rift is still. Wait, did Rift just fizzle out? No, okay, we still have quite a while, and we have 2 minutes until Baron and 4 minutes until Dragon, so we don't have anything on the map immediately. I think we should just worry about getting vision control on places of the map, pushing out our waves. TF is adhering to that principle, and he's going to go and try and put some pressure on that bot tower. He needs to watch out, though, that Nunu is kind of close by, shadowing the lane. Meanwhile, on top side, though, Magic Man, what's going on?
Yona's coming up for a roam in Fog of War. She's not able to secure that E to land on to the Poppy. Even if she did, Poppy would have most likely knocked her out to not get stunned herself. Leona trying to force some roams, and it looks like Nunu might be bringing the ball up there as well. Decides against it. So you're right. Things kind of have slowed down. We're posturing to look at turrets here. Still no turret to have fallen in the top side. Zaya Rakan are just grouped together in a lane trying to push down the turret as well. Orianna is now getting caught out here. Good gold card from TF. Sejuani coming across. Orianna tries to flash, but is hit by the Orianna ult. Leona ult comes across in the mid lane here. Zaya was able to dodge it with ult, but Rakan was not. Jinx now diving Zaya under a turret. Jinx at low health, but with a good zap secures the kill. And Zaya wasn't able to trade any autos. Jinx is dead to a turret, not to a player.
Yep, that was a very nice execute. And just... It was a little... It was definitely a good pickup for Jinx. It's just a little rough that Zaya wasn't able to trade that kill back. I guess it ends up being kind of even across the board. But yeah, Zaya is trying to be pretty aggressive for the most part in lane. And I think that might be costing her a little bit. Her team really has a lot of get off me moves, right? Poppy has 2 get off me moves with the thing that stops dashes. I don't actually know what it's called. And the ultimate.
Yep.
Sejuani being able to ult and just kind of walk away. TF ulting out or just gold card walking out. Rakan has a very far dash on Azaya with that combo. Oh wait,
Oh, Wukong coming in here and Leona getting some engagement on the Rakan on the side. A TP is forced out of Persona here. It is now going to be a 4v5 in the mid lane. TF would like to recall as he's low on health and low on mana. Sejuani doing her best to farm her jungle behind the team. So right now teams are unsure what to do. They don't know if they want to have a straight team fight or not. But Nunu is bringing the snowball in. He tries to land it onto the Poppy. They're able to shut down in that engage as they're waiting for their TF to come back. Twisted Fate does have ult though and should be ready to respond to a team fight if it breaks out.
yep. And the gold is almost dead even right now. So especially if the Wukong is not there, they probably are going to be looking for a fight. They're going to have to be, aware of that Wukong TP, however. And as long as they don't let him get a good flank off and Poppy's able to zone him, they should be alright.
Yeah, he does have TP. We see a lot of good wave clear from both sides. Orianna Jinx is pretty good to clear against a Xayah Rakan. Nunu again coming in with the snowball though. Sejuani coming in on the backside to get a stun. Rakan has now landed an ult across 3 and knocked them up. We see the Twisted Fate ult into the middle and a TP responded by Wukong, but Wukong is far too late. The members of Blue Side down low on health bars. Jinx picks up a 1 kill on the backside and she's getting excited. She's picked up a 2nd kill here now in the fight. A triple kill, or excuse me, a double kill, a triple kill, and I believe Jinx should be able to kill this Poppy. Quadra kill for the Jinx. She is just free hitting those rockets in the backside. Again, we see a great start from a team fight from Blue Side here, but they're just not able to get enough damage across, and Jinx is picking up kill after kill.
Yeah, they had a good pick at the beginning, but then they played a little bit too much into the Orianna Wukong ultimates, right? And then the Jinx rockets to layer on top. It was very good until it wasn't, to say a very short TLDR. The TF had a very interesting ult to basically get
right in the middle.
up.
Yes.
It ulted right into where the Orianna wanted to throw all of her abilities, and it wasn't even that far. It was like an upgraded flash, basically, length away. Like maybe 2 flashes length away. So that was a little weird. I feel like he could have just pulled out a red card to get the AoE damage and play from afar right there.
Yeah, I mean, Rakan got his dream engaged there. He got an ultimate and knock up across 3 as they were caught in that choke, but as every single member of Blue went into that choke, that's where the Wombo combo is strong, and I think that they're not going to be able to win these team fights if they continue to group up in these balls against the Wukong and Orianna, just like you're saying. So gold, though, still relatively close. It's less than a 1k gold lead for Red Side here, but Jinx now has just as much gold as Wukong, which is a very scary proposition. So now they've got an engage tool that's very fed, and the ranged damage that's very fed. Sejuani is fighting the Wukong up in the top side. Twisted Fate is going to ult and drop the gold card. They've snared him down. Divide and Sunder doing wonders, though. Stair gauge is popped, and Wukong is still very healthy. It's not going to be enough. He is going to die. Twisted Fate almost dying himself, though. Nunu tried to come to help in that team fight, but he was just a little bit too late. So Wukong overstaying in the top lane and getting abused on by that TF ult.
Yeah. One thing I do like about their team is it has enough fail-safes for the Wukong. Oh, okay, Nunu's looking for something in the mid lane right now.
He is, and the Leona ult isn't able to stun anybody, but does slow 2 on the backside here. Xayah doing her best to kite back in this team fight. She is able to land a big snare and lots of damage on the back line. 2 are knocked up, and we see this team fight going down. Rakan with a huge shutdown across on the Jinx. Leona, a low health target. They're spreading out now. The Orianna ball is in motion. Sejuani, though, is deciding to tank this turret. She forces the Zhonya's out of the Orianna. She is trying to dive, but a great ball is going to pull her back. She is going to live with a sliver of health from a Rakan shield. So overall, a good team fight turn there from Blue Side. We are still dead even in kills, 19-19. And again, gold lead now for Blue, but less than 1,000.
I would say the most important thing is that since this is a lot more even game than last game, the only big thing that we have on the map is 3 dragons to 1. And I think that's what is going to decide this game. We are looking at another Infernal Soul. I did not spin the gotcha wheel for this one, so I don't know who did, but we are in fact getting, yes, 2 Infernal Souls back to back. And how good is that for either team? I have to think about this. I think it's really good if you are able to pick that up on the side of the TF, Xayah, and I feel like you guys have more poke. But it's obviously really good burst-wise for the Wombo combo team. It means your Wombo is going to pay out more often than not.
Absolutely, yeah. I feel like it's pretty strong for that Jinx Wukong combo in particular. There's going to be a lot of procs of its abilities. So Right now, they are the ones with the threat of being able to pick up the dragon. Sejuani is dropping an ult. She missed the stun on the Orianna here, but she is going to fall. Rakan is ulted and pulled back in the Leona. The red team is here and is ready to fight. Twisted Fate does get a flash and a yellow card on the Leona on the backside. Sejuani now taking the brunt of this damage. We're going back and forth. Jinx deciding to play safe and return back under the safety of her turret here. Wukong coming in from the flank, though. All the members of blue team are grouped up. They are ready for Wukong to come across. The Leona ult comes down. She's able to stun one. Xayah is forced to use her ability to get out of dodge. Wukong still coming in with the ult, but this time only picks up the Sejuani. We are turning and fighting. There is a lot going on. It's hard to tell what's happening, but blue side is coming up. Kills here. Five of them are still alive. One kill is traded over. That was a lot of action for not a lot of deaths.
Yeah, I mean, but it did look like a very good team fight overall for the blue side. I feel like momentum-wise, they're kind of kicking back into things. And as we look to these next few dragons, I feel like red side is kind of pressured to like find a way to close out this soul point.
I agree with you, and I think that they've also gotten to the point where Sejuani is very tanky, and Poppy is getting there. Sejuani, though, drops the ult on the Orianna and then turns the attention onto Jinx. Jinx is going to get caught out by the Rakan and by the Poppy as Orianna is finished up by the last three that are alive in the backside to take care of her. Dragon is spawning in 30 seconds. They're looking to posture for that dragon.
Interesting. I feel like they had a chance to go get Baron while Dragon is still down, but now they're going to be fighting another probably 5v5 if the enemy team does contest. Although Ori and Jinx don't have TP and are going to have to walk over there, so it will be a while. So they might just give it. So in the meantime, I just want to say that the Wukong's lead is kind of... Wait a second.
Oh, Sejuani is going in. Again, this is a place where Wukong wants to fight, but he doesn't have a lot of follow-up damage. Wukong and Nunu are back under their turret. Twisted Fate has ulted to try to catch this Leona out, lands the gold card and lands the Everfrost. Leona with a fantastic three-man stun, but she isn't able to walk out of that one. So Leona is picked up. Blue side definitely has the number advantage now as Dragon has spawned.
Yeah, I feel like that we haven't seen a straight-up team fight from red side in quite a while.
Oh, but we do see Wukong and Nunu trying to play a little bit of cheesy, standing behind the Dragon Pit here. Rakan is able to face check safely and push that Wukong out of position. Blue team now is just kind of dancing with the dragon themselves, not deciding to stick it just yet. Nunu is there with two smites, which is a scary potential steal for them here. Nunu comes over the wall, but Xayah is the one to pick up the dragon here. We do see Orianna and Jinx taking care of the Twisted Fate, who is zoning them off of dragon. But a great engage here from Rakan. He's going to get a knockup on it too and go back to protect his team. Sejuani now trying to run for her life. Poppy is pretty close to full on health, but Xayah is running and not wanting to fight at all.
Okay, so that time they were able to pull out a full team fight, even though it was the most scary thing I've seen yet, because both of their backliners had no front line in front of them, and in fact they were on the opposite side, so that was a very weird pincer fight all around. But it ended up working somehow in their favor, with the Xayah and Ori popping the TF kind of early on, and then just being able to fight for everything else. And they are actually going to go ahead and pick up this look for this Baron in the meantime.
They are. Sejuani is going to come up and see if she can try to get in the mix. She does have Smite available. Xayah and Sejuani are here, but it's not going to be enough. Leona ult lands on top of the Sedge. She is going to go down. Baron is going over to red team here. Xayah is caught out. We're only able to see Poppy and Jinx fighting here. Xayah is kiting back. It is a 3v1 for Xayah. She heals herself, and they are actually going to catch out the Wukong under turret here. And here goes Poppy now winning in a 2v1. A lot of gold over to Persona here as he's now running from the Leona.
Yeah, a few...
Kodak Mac Khan is grabbing some vision as well.
A few mistakes. I think you're going in a little too far. Remember that the goal, I would say, if you are black, is that the goal is to frontline and have your backliners be uncontested and let them deal damage. I feel like letting the Poppy kind of free hit the Jinx, and I mean the Orianna, obviously they were frontlining for her, but the Wukong went a little bit too deep there, and Gray picked it up fantastically, being able to pick those kills up in their stead.
Leona and trying to engage on the Twisted Fate. It is just Leona and Nunu, though. No damage there. A little bit of a mistake trying to go there. Leona is going to die for her sins.
Yeah, I do feel like Blue has kind of slowly been inching their way back into the lead. I mean, they still have had the gold lead for a while, but every team fight, it feels kind of close, but overall, momentum-wise, they picked it up from the beginning of the game where they were behind a lot.
Yeah, this feels almost like a mirror of game one where Gray was fighting with those desperation fights to try to get back in it. Kind of feels like the tides have switched here, or the tables have turned, where Gray is now in the lead and Black is forced to take these desperation fights.
Yeah. Um, and I've kind of mentioned this a few times, but Wukong is kind of soft countered by their entire team in a comp setting. So he's going to have a hard time starting the fights. Where Poppy is especially there, and he's not going to be able to get on the backline as much as possible. He's going to have to let the Xayah and everyone else do a little, or sorry,
A little bit of a duel here in the red side jungle. Nunu is trying to chase down them all. Xayah is able to land a great ult and snare, more than one. She's trying to fight in the back, but an excellent Orianna ult is going to pull Xayah back in. Xayah is going to go down to Orianna. Sejuani is now dueling in the backline with the Twisted Fate who had ulted in, and it is a double kill for Sej. Leona is going to drop. It is a 2 against 3. Now a 2 against 1 for blue side here as Wukong is trying to get out alive between the Twisted Fate and the Poppy, bullying him against this wall. Although Wukong's damage, like we said, is very high. TF now trying to live with a sliver of health. Poppy should be able to win this 1v1, blocking Wukong from escaping. We're going to see a gold card from TF, but he's not in range. He flashes himself to pick up the kill. Blue team with a very delayed ace there in that team fight. Yeah. Now over 3k in a gold lead and are able to push and probably secure another turret off of that team fight.
Yeah. Wukong got to that fight a little bit late, and the rest of them were not able to, once again, defend. If the Jinx Ori can stay alive, then Black can win these fights. And otherwise, the enemy team needs to prevent that from happening as much as possible. Getting people like the Poppy and the Sejuani to be on as deep as possible. The TF coming
Look at this. Nunu is zooming though. Just misses the Poppy. The smite though is going to come across to slower. Poppy is in a 4v1. She's doing her best to live, but Poppy is going to drop here. A shutdown going over to Orianna.
Yeah, that was very funny. But yeah, that Nunu just going supersonic speeds down, and TF's once again looking for things, but without Poppy here for 30 seconds, I think they might have to give.
Wow, Red is looking, though, to try to engage in this team fight, but in comes Sejuani. Xayah is forced to ult out in the backside, but they pick up a kill on the Nunu. The Leona is going to drop as well. It is now a 4v3. Wukong is trying to dive into the middle of the team. Xayah literally living with maybe 10 health there. Twisted Fate, though, coming across with these Qs and stuns and hurting the whole back line of Red team here. It is now Wukong face tanking for his team. Xayah and Rakan. Xayah is able to get the recall out. TF comes in with a big load of damage. And holy smokes, these fights are close.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to give this Dragon, and it's going to be 3-3 unless...
Yep, Persona TP, but is on the other side of the Dragon from the rest of his team here. Wukong is playing a little bit of a distraction game, but Xayah and Twisted Fate are going to be able to catch up. They pick up the kill on the Wukong, who might have overstayed his welcome there. And blue team sets their eyes on Dragon number 3 for them, but number 6 in the game.
All right, skirmish going on again. I feel like Jinx could have gotten a lot more damage on that team fight, but once again, props to the enemy team. Even though the TF ult got canceled, he was still able to front to back, and the Xayah was able to end up dishing out damage. But I feel like the front line is actually dealing so much damage. Just the Sejuani and the Poppy alone are doing so much in these fights to the Jinx Orianna and just being tanky and not going down.
I mean, they really are. I think Xayah is forced to ult early on in these team fights. I want to say the last 3 in a row, and yet she's living, dealing damage, and surviving these Wukong initiations. While you're right, Sejuani and Poppy are just beating the crap out of their backline. So, pretty strong team fights and shot calling in the middle of these fights. If you are red side, if you are Team Gap Gold Black, Queen's Gambit, what do you try to do to get back into this game? How do you slow this down?
Right, I think that they've played a lot of team fights kind of disorganized, and the Jinx has played very scared in the team fights. There just needs to be that trust and that coordination of going in together as your entire team, and the Wukong not coming in late. It doesn't matter if the Wukong is able to get to the backline or not. The more important thing is, are we able to protect the Jinx and Orianna combo, because they should be dealing more damage than the TF and the Xayah, and at even stages in the game. Now that said, the TF has found himself a nice gold lead, and he's looking for a pick here again.
Yeah, the Wukong is kind of caught out. There are 4 members of blue team here trying to delete him from the map. He lived for a few seconds longer than I thought, but he is going to fall. Poppy almost falls in a trade as well, but Sejuani with a great ult is able to stun the Nunu and Leona. Rakan is going to fall, but not a priority target here for red team, but they're continuing to kite backwards. Really, really good front-to-back fighting here. Jinx is going to fall, though. Nunu at a very low health bar. Xayah is still alive, but Orianna's going to pick up the shutdown. Twisted Fate now sitting in a bush with a gold card, looking to possibly assassinate this Orianna here with this Lichbane. But she's going to walk it out and play safe. A bloody fight, 4 kills for red side and 3 for blue. Again, no one's stopping to fight. I mean, no one's stopping their fighting. This is just back and forth all day.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything in the game, because of how even all the fights have been, and how we've constantly pushed for fighting, and no one's really had a significant farm lead over anyone else. Like, pretty much everything looks even across the board as far as farm goes. Orianna actually did buy the blue pot for that last fight, and I think that actually did turn the fight in her favor, just barely being able to pick up that kill on Xayah when that Xayah flashed. And now Xayah having no flash is going to be a little bit more defenseless for this next fight, as the Jinx is going to have flash but no heal up for this next fight, and the exhaust ready for possibly the TF or the Poppy, whoever's on the back line.
I think the big thing to note, though, here on the team fight is Jinx just picked up her Lord Doms, which is going to be a very advantageous tool for her to try to fight through this Sejuani and these Poppy that are trying to get to her in the back line. But, Way, I gotta say it, you're an Oracle, man. You literally said it doesn't matter when Wukong goes into these fights, as long as they can keep Jinx and Orianna alive. He was literally dead during that team fight, and Jinx and Oreo were able to clean it up because they were alive. So, you understand the strategy. Now, Red Side just got to implement it.
Yep, that's going to be what it comes down to. But I do kind of want to see if Gray can continue keeping their lead and finding the picks and sort of the really good fights and not letting the enemy team front to back. Now, that said, Orianna has finally finished her Banshees and still has that blue pot. They are looking for a game-ending fight soon.
Yeah, and we're starting to see it. Twisted Fate does have his ultimate available. Poppy has TP, Wukong has TP, so does Orianna. So everyone is just kind of posturing, seeing if they can get an advantageous lane pushing, and then turn for a team fight.
I mean, it's literally all going to come down to this dragon. Both teams just want the dragon to win the game.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's literally Dragon Soul in the next 54 seconds. Teams are looking to start planting vision. Again, Black, Queen's Gambit has done a great job of getting to that dragon early and securing vision. I say securing vision, they've got 1 pink.
The only way Dragon Soul does not go to one of these teams is if Dragon gets 2 pentakills in a row. Like, someone is getting this dragon.
We do see 3 members deep hiding in a bush here. Sejuani with no fears engaging on all of them. We do see 3 now fighting against this Poppy. Wukong is doing his best to ult across the back line, but is now doing very little damage. The Poppy is now fighting in an actual 4v1 and picking up the kill on the Jinx. Orianna's picked up the kill on the Poppy. Wukong is going to fall. It is now a 3v3. Rakan and Twisted Fate on the backside trying to deal damage for blue team here. Good kiting from Orianna. She is staying alive, but the Leona has fallen. Nunu is still up. Orianna is doing her best to kite back and do damage, but she is low on mana. Sejuani does not want to give up. They force the flash out of the Ori. Blue buff is going to go over to Twisted Fate, and blue side is going to want to try to secure this dragon. Orianna is so low with no mana that this might be easy. She's going to recall and hope to TP to assist her Nunu in stealing this dragon. And here goes Nunu, though. A great snowball as blue side is tanking the dragon. He does his best to slow it down, but it's not going to be enough. Blue team is slowly taking this dragon. Orianna has TP'd back bot side. Dragon is low. Orianna tosses the ball over the wall. She does an ultimate, which hits nothing. And blue side has secured an Infernal Soul. 39 minutes into the game, it is 43 kills to 33, and only a 3k gold lead for blue side. Oh my god, the action isn't over. TF ulting in onto the Orianna. Lands good gold card and the Everfrost. There are 3 members of blue that pick up the solo dolo Orianna.
Yeah, and
Woo!
TF is very consistently able to get damage out on these backliners in these later game fights where he was having trouble in the early and mid games. I think the amount of kills he's gotten, and also just the positioning has gotten a lot better as he's somehow just able to get gold cards out into Jinx consistently. And it feels like the enemy team is not prepared or ready for that to happen. They just need something that stops the TF from getting all the damage out in the Jinx, or something that's gonna keep the Jinx alive.
You're right, and blue team is now postured for Baron, and they are burning this Baron down. The Jinx ult comes across, was not able to get the steal. Xayah has now secured her second objective on the map as she picks up the Baron kill, but red team is now on the chase. The members of blue are relatively low. They are going to have time to walk away and recall. So again, we're recharging our bank accounts, we're filling up our inventory with items, and we're looking for another game-ending team fight.
Yep, it's up to Gray to just not get too cocky here and find out the as long as they keep playing the team fights the way they've been, and so what the enemy team has been doing, they will surely be able to take one out with the soul on their side. So as long as they don't get too cocky here, they should be able to clean this one out, and it's just a matter of execution.
Yep, patience is going to be the name of the game here. They want strong wave management. We do see Wukong pushing out top side with no resilience, so they're going to have one lane that they know is going to stay safe. Twisted Fate is looking to start pushing in the bot lane as the rest of the 4 members are grouping up middle for blue here. It is going to be a 1-4 split push. Twisted Fate does have the ability to ult into these team fights like he has done all game, and they're going to try to push in their waves with Baron that way.
Okay. Yep,
A lot of pings coming across. Secured a pink ward. Very nice.
Yep, they're going to get all of that bot side vision. And I really hope this game doesn't go down to Elder, just because I want to see the teams be able to close it out. But okay.
Sejuani with the full unengaged. The damage from Twisted Fate is crazy. Rakan is in on the backside. Twisted Fate is ulting back behind him as well. A beautiful Leona ult to shut down that Twisted Fate immediately and not let him apply damage. Wukong is now doing damage across the backside. Xayah is walking out and not dealing... Oh, I lied. She's dealing a lot of damage in the team fight. There are a lot of feathers. Many low health bars for blue side here, though. And Jinx and Wukong are still alive. A great turnaround trade for Xayah and Sejuani. It is just now Wukong left up defending the base. I lied. Here comes Nunu snowballing in. Wukong is getting to do a lot of damage sitting on top of the Xayah. It is now Sejuani versus Nunu in the battle of noodles here. But Sejuani is going to do enough to shut down this Nunu for the ace. Sejuani still with Baron buff, looking to end this game here with a full minion wave at her side.
Don't think she... Wait, does she? I don't know. The Baron minions are going to do a lot of work here, but Oriana's up in 5 seconds, so that should be both Nexus towers, at least, if she decides she wants it.
No, she looks like she's going to try to dash out. Oriana should focus on clearing out this wave here. They have cracked open the base. They've taken down both Nexus turrets. It is just a single Nexus that stands between Team Gold Gray here in game number 2.
And that fight actually went so well for Red. Like, Jinx was able to dodge the TF damage, and they were able to cease the TF, so he wasn't able to basically do anything in that fight. And I think it's just too little too late. Like, the Infernals have kicked in, and even the tanks are becoming sustained drain tanks over time with this Infernal Soul. And as long as they're able to take out those backline members, which even when TF was able to do no damage, the Xayah was still able to 1v1 the Jinx with Infernal Soul. I think it's just too rough here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw, but when that Sejuani engaged and everyone was able to get off just that little bit of damage, people explode. There was a lot of delayed damage coming across from that TF who ulted in and was immediately shut down as well. So a lot of really advantageous plays coming across from both teams as each are really just trying to force these victories in the team fights. Blue now is deciding to group up, though, and start taking down remaining turrets on the map. They know they have all the pressure in the world on bot side from those super minions. TF does drop ult to gain vision, but doesn't look like... I lied, he is going to ult, but just to stay close to his team. They've now secured all outer turrets, and just what remains are inhibitor turrets.
Yep, doing a good job pushing out the waves, and it looks like we are going to be seeing some form of an Elder Dragon come out this game. Now, whether it's going to go down to either team, I cannot say, but they are looking to get priority over it.
Well, and again, if the Elder Drake fight is going to come up, I say this. Look at this gangbang bush for blue side here. Both Rakan, Zaya, and Sejuani are hiding in a visionless bush here. They are moving up into try now. That Twisted Fate is close. Sejuani comes across. They got the Banshee Veil off of Orianna. Orianna doing her best to kite back and drop an ult. Zaya is going to pick up the kill on the Nunu. Wukong is looking to engage but falls back out. Sejuani, though, is just absolutely getting or destroying, excuse me, the back line here. We do see Wukong doing his best in the middle of this team fight, but it is a 5v1. GA will be popped and Wukong will fall.
I
It's
feel
now
like
5
that.
members alive for blue. I'm kind of not sure why they're not just grabbing the dragon for free.
Well, they can either grab the dragon or immediately go to the Nexus and finish off the game. Poppy does have TP, so
Ah, she
unless
does.
Jinx
Okay.
and Leona can do a miracle play here, this should be the
Which is
game.
tough when Sejuani jumps forward and lands the ult on the Leona. Rakan tries to come across and get that Jinx, but it doesn't matter. Twist and Fate and Poppy are already on the Nexus. Game 2 is going over to I cannot believe we have girlfriends. It is now 1-for-1 in our best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, a beautiful, like, overall game. They cleaned up what they wanted to do in the team fights, and they got rid of what the enemy team's game plan was. Overall, their front line always on top of the back line, if not the TF, if not the Zaya was able to pick up the last few kills remaining in the fight, or someone or other. Like, there were so many fights that came down to the wire, and I think that they took away Black's momentum, and Black was never able to find the team fight that they needed for the rest of the game to get that one soul left. So very nice.
Yeah, and I mean that was just a super back and forth game with non-stop action all the way throughout. I think what we just saw mainly was the usefulness of Sejuani versus Nunu. Nunu wasn't able to secure some of these steals like he tried to, which is one reason that you take Nunu is to secure your buffs. He wasn't able to steal a dragon at the crucial point. He wasn't able to steal a Baron, and now Sejuani's teamfight pressure is a lot stronger. So props to Carry Bear there, doing a fantastic job in the jungle for team. I cannot believe we have girlfriends. But all around, just crazy team fights, man. I don't know what Game 3 has in store for us.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get that lobby up and running for us.
I have paid out those beautiful channel points so everybody can enjoy your winnings. It was a 50-50 on those predictions for that last game.
So we saw that in the first game, the Castling pick didn't end up working out too well. In this game, we had a TF pick that ended up doing a lot more work overall. Both games being blinded, but this time working out a lot better. So I wonder what we have in store for the draft in Game 3.
Well, I do see quite a few comments coming out in chaps kind of saying the Oriana build wasn't necessarily the strongest choice and that she might have had an easier job in these team fights if she had built more damage. What's your take on that? She had a Leandries, she had a Zonias, she had a Banshees. What build path maybe should she have gone that might have been more advantageous for that team?
I mean, I do think that it would have been more useful had she went more damage. Absolutely. And that she kind of really didn't see play until she bought Banshee's Veil and Blue Pot. So in the mid game, they could have had more things going. But ultimately, what it comes down to is that their backline was not very protected for the majority of the game. It literally took until almost the end with Infernal Soul for Jinx to even have a good team fight. Now, I cannot say exactly where what needs to be shored up here, whether the Jinx needs to have better spacing or whether the front line needs to realize that they can't dive too deep and they just have to protect her from the Twisted Fate ult and the Poppy and Sejuani coming on her. I'm not exactly sure, but one of these things needs to happen for them to pull out this team comp a third game.
Yeah, for me, I think the big thing is the Nunu pick. He really, really kind of fell off in these team fights. I think that if Nunu can't get ahead with early ganks or just having a really dominant clear, which he wasn't able to that game, Sejuani was just outright the better champion, especially for how much they were fighting. So if I am Team Black, Queen's Gambit, I think I would try to take just a jungler that can team fight better or apply some different pressure ganks earlier across the game. Other than that, I really like their comp build. I think both teams played to their strengths. And like I said, we saw great fights from both sides there. But I think, I mean, once we got as late as we did in the game, the fact that Nunu wasn't stealing objectives and what else is he good for? So Sejuani does a lot more in those team fights.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. Sejuani's actually gotten ahead both games against the enemy jungler, which I think is kind of insane because you normally just don't think of Sejuani being like 3-1, such a powerhouse early game by like the 8-10 minute mark.
Yeah, it's true. And tell me this: so is Sejuani back in the meta, or is our Gap League really just kind of being trendsetters and identifying really strong champions on their own?
Yeah, I mean, Sejuani's not going to see as much play in solo queue because you're so weak early on, and you're never going to see that as much. Now, when we look at higher levels of play, Sejuani does see more and more play, and I do like that it's coming out a lot because as you see, the early game junglers, if they're not able to get as much early, then Sejuani. I mean, I would say Sejuani was gonna perform better in these past two games than we are almost ever normally gonna see her. But even then, just seeing how tanky she is in these fights and being able to front to back so well, like we can see that. Like you said, the Nunu pick was not as strong early, and also them not having the Sejuani. They took away that Sejuani, which was going to be an amazing pick for them, right? To front to back. And the Nunu just wasn't as tanky. He wasn't able to get the steal off that he needed to, or something. And the ganks were not there. And whereas Sejuani is always going to be tanky no matter what, right? So you have that in your back pocket.
We do, and draft has also started now for game 3. If you want to pull that up, so we can go over it. It's funny, we weren't sure if that Sejuani was picked up so early in game 1, but it looks like it is a contested pick in this series, obviously. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that as an early pickup now going into game 3. But taking a look across the board, bans for Queen's Gambit are going to be Nocturne, Master Yi, and Seraphine. And bans now coming out of Can't Believe We Have Girlfriends will be Zach, Skarner, and now the Rakan. The Rakan taken out of the mix, proving
Yep.
to be a very strong support in these team fight oriented comps.
And like you were saying, I was not surprised at all to see this Sejuani be one. They know they need it. Now, the problem here is that you kind of have already said that we really want Jinx, Orianna, Sejuani on the same team. And Red Team knows exactly what they're going to look for if they decide to go for that again. And there are other things they could do, like going for like a Wombo comp with Samira and stuff. But I think they're just going to heavily favor and prioritize this Jinx. And so I think Gray Team of I Can't Believe We Have Girlfriends is going to recognize exactly what their strategy is and be able to come up with perhaps another comp that's going to win against that.
So I think with the Lulu being shown here, that literally always makes me feel protect the carry. And that is an okay answer to a Wombo combo if you can make sure that it works. What we did see team fight after team fight was Zaya was living in the back of these fights with a sliver of health, but she was still able to apply damage. So if they possibly transition some of that engage and put it more towards a supportive focus, that might be their answer to this. Hecarim is picked up in the jungle, not necessarily a protect the carry jungler. He does have a little bit of that effect with a AoE fear, but past that point, he certainly is more of a dive champion himself.
Yeah, not looking at the players too much, I would think that Kog'Maw would be one of the best possible matchups that you could have for red team or red side right here. Either Kog'Maw or Jinx, both being really good pairings with Lulu. And Kog'Maw is obviously going to be a really good tank shredder. Now we see the Ezreal Bard picked up a very strong poke lane and actually very good late game synergy together. So this is an entirely different breed coming out from Black. Not even deciding to pick the Jinx even though it's open.
Well, I mean, let's just say it. It's Magic Meep Daddy. I can only imagine if he gets that Bard pickup, he's going to play it. So I'm assuming we're going to see some spectacular play out of him. If you name yourself after a champion, you better be good on him. So fingers crossed we see a good Bard show, to say the least.
I was thinking that the Hecarim picks seemed a little weird, and then they went ahead and picked Vayne. I really like picking Lulu Vayne here, actually. Vayne is known, like Ezreal does not really have many counters, but Vayne is known to be very strong in that the way she plays against Ezreal can never really 1v1 her the entire game, and she's going to be good versus a lot of tanks, which it seems like Team Black likes to go for a lot. So I love that pick. I'm not sure if Hecarim is the right thing to go here, but if they pick enough dive, top, and jungle, then I think that if they have things that can get onto the Ezreal, now they've already banned out the Nocturne and the TF though, so there's not going to be that much left.
You're right. I mean, I like the band there with the Twisted Fate coming out of Queen's Gambit. It was a spectacular showing from husband versus wife on TF in that last game. So good thing to take him off of that. I like what you're saying. I think that dive works really well into Sejuani. She doesn't have a chance to set up those team fights for her team. She is much less effective. So this Hecarim who is looking to dive, now paired with the Rise, who is going to bring their team to get these engages, think we see a really high tempo team coming out of I cannot believe we have girlfriends.
Yes, so Polo Star, I got a link, but how was the peel? So last game we saw that Black had trouble peeling for the Orianna Jinx, and the enemy team was just able to kind of collapse very easily on it, and it took them a little bit too long. Literally 7th Dragon for them to finally get a good team fight. By then, the Infernal Soul had already gone out to the Gray team, and the Gray team was able to take the victory with the TF ulting into the Nexus to finish off the game. Now we're looking at a completely different style coming out from, I think, both teams. They still have a lot of front to back on the Team of Black side with the Galio Sejuani, but now they have a lot of carry potential coming out from the Akali Ezreal.
Yeah, I mean, this is night and day from game 1 and 2 with what these teams are trying to accomplish, which just throws another wrench in the mix. If we thought there was a lot of fighting in the last game, I can only imagine it's just going to be matched by the tempo of both these teams here. So that's going to be a Trundle top,
Yeah.
I would assume. So that's Trundle into a Akali. I know literally nothing about that matchup. Can you fill me in on that?
Trundle versus Akali. I'm not entirely too certain. Trundle is known to be a very strong 1v1er, but in the games where he doesn't get a lead early, I know that he is usually super strong once he starts getting his ultimate online, and basically a lot of champions are forced to not be able to 1v1 him. And I don't know if that is the case with Akali, if she's either has a damage potential enough, or is she just has the enough defenses to be able to get out of the all-in. But I feel like regardless, it kind of sets up the stage for the rest of this game. This game, there's going to be a lot of split potential. Trundle wants to split push. He never wants a team fight. Rise, of course, is going to want to split push just to scale as much as he can. Galio and Akali are both going to be looking for side lanes to take advantage of. Galio looking to ult in either side lane, and Akali looking to push an advantage if she ever gets one, knowing that the Rise probably will not be able to 1v1 her in the middle to late game. Can we go ahead and get the predictions up and running while I go over a little bit more?
Already live. We got people voting so far.
Abs-
That's it, everybody. Please get your gap points up into those predictions. We've got a crazy game 3 coming across. Whole basically new champions for each team. The only champion that we've seen before is Sejuani in this whole series. So again, a lot of spice coming out. I don't know if we're just kind of throwing things at the wall to see what works. If so, I think both teams are trying to catch each other off guard.
Now, here is what I think is very dangerous, the possibly the most dangerous pick in the game right now, and it is the Vayne paired with the Lulu on Gray's side for the I can't believe we have girlfriends, because we've seen that Hottest Cashier has a Vayne. So we already know he has one. And to have that Lulu pick, it doesn't even matter by the time that the enemy has started to draft the Sejuani. I think the Vayne is such a good pick into that, because you already... it both is going to have a good lane matchup in Ezreal, and is going to have the tank to deal with the Sejuani, that it's just going to have such an easy time. And even if you pick an assassin, you already have the Lulu to mitigate what that assassin is going to be able to do on the Vayne. So if the enemy team does look for a team fight, literally all that Gray has to do is have the Lulu Vayne together and just engage together, and they're going to have probably an easy time for the Vayne to be outplaying and making the moves and getting the quadra kills. I definitely see it being possible.
All right, so we've got strong feelings towards that Vayne Lulu lane for sure. After you said that, tell me, what do you think, based off of drafts alone, we're going into game 3, who do you think is going to take this game?
Okay, I think that we have prioritized a little bit too much on the Sejuani For Black side, I think this is the first time that they do not come out with a as strong as a comp into the enemy team as the rest of them have been. The enemy team has drafted appropriately into the Sejuani, I believe, and they have enough scaling to compete with the enemy team with the Vayne and Rise. The Akali can be scary, but I don't think that Black's team necessarily meshes up enough well to take the win over. Maybe if the Akali Galio split lanes can be very, very dominant, but that's two magic damage characters. So I don't think the Trundle Rise are going to be too worried about that. I do think that for the first time in the series, I'm going to go with Team I Cannot Believe We Have Girlfriends.
I think I've got to go with you too. I think if Akali can get a huge lead and be a threat early before Vayne Lulu really, really comes online, there might be a chance. But I think both teams have shown that pushing an early game lead and ending prior to that 30 or 25-minute mark isn't something that either team is looking to do. If Vayne can get to that 30-minute mark with the pocket Lulu, there's not much that's going to be able to stop them. So I agree with you wholeheartedly, especially because just don't think Akali gets to take off on a Trundle. I don't think that she just gets to free farm a lane
Yeah.
and get kill after kill after kill.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think that your comp would have worked a lot better if you're on red side, or maybe if you just didn't first pick the Sejuani for Team Queen's Gambits. But it is what it is, and we are going to be getting at underway. So I'm going to go ahead and run a quick 1-minute ad break, and we'll be back with you shortly. For those of you who are
I need
not
to grab
subscribed.
some beverages, so give me just 2 seconds. I am parched.
Absolutely, Magic. I know the feeling. Redeeming my drink water, and I'm drinking my water for you, Satan, and for myself. Gotta stay hydrated out here. You know, it's tough. It's summer. It's. I mean, it's not a drought because of course I'm here in Houston, so it's just like super humid. It's like super swampy, but don't let that get to you. You can still get dehydrated out here in Houston. It's very easy. Whew. Well, meanwhile, I don't really have much else to say about the game, but I'll say that for the uh, past day, I've been on that Guilty Gear Strive beta. I've been not beta, or I guess it's just come out now, Strive, and I just got that, and I've been playing it with my stick, or rather lack of stick, as I just have a box, and it's been a lot of fun. The audio has been beautiful. The OST soundtrack is amazing, and I love how it looks visually. And it's not something you hear from me every day, so aesthetically, it's been a pretty fun game to play around with. So if any of you guys want to play me in Strive, you guys can go ahead and send me some DMs. I'm down to show off how noob I am.
Now, I just want to say, everybody, please pray for me. I just told my significant other I will try to keep it down, and my job tonight is to be a shoutcaster. So I told a lie, and really hoping that this game is really mellow. Just lots of really slow gameplay, 50-minute taken turret game, and we can keep the volume down. I'm fucking kidding, baby. Let's get a violent game like last time. I am stoked for game 3.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? You know where your priorities lie, and it is
League.
that's what we need it to be. You know, it's basically football night for us out here. You know, we're allowed to be as loud as we want. Damned be the neighbors' noise complaints. We can do what we want here. It is time. It is go time. League is starting up, and as long as we don't get any Wi-Fi warriors, we should be ready shortly.
You stream from you once again.
Yes, sir.
I am so excited. No Wi-Fi warriors. Imagine. Imagine.
Okay.
All right, folks. Game 3 is now underway. On blue side, we have Team Gap, Gold, Black, or Queen's Gambit. And on red side, we have Team Gap, Gold, Gray, or I Cannot Believe We Have Girlfriends. It is game 3 of a best of 3. Queen's Gambit take game 1. Can't believe we have girlfriends take game 2. And we are looking for a hot and spicy, a hot and sweaty A number 3.
Okay, yep, and I will go ahead and update the overlay. Will be updated very shortly. For now, are we going to possibly see an invade for the first time in the series?
I'm seeing pings from blue side. It looks like they do want to invade. Bard is a particularly strong level 1 specifically for an invade with the ability to stun people, whether it be with an ally or against a wall. So I really like this coming out of blue team. We're spicing it up. First time we've seen an invade in the series. Vayne looks like she might get caught out here as all 5 members of blue crest the edge. Vayne is going to walk out. No flashes are going to be forced. Just one quick tumble, and Vayne has made it out safe. Recalls are coming out. Bard is establishing his Magic Meep Daddy dominance by staying in the jungle here. But I don't know if you see this way. We've got Sejuani and Ezreal actually staying in the blue bush. They might be looking to fight the Lulu and the Vayne, who have absolutely no idea that they're still there.
Yeah, I have to wonder why this Bard is also positioned so far back. They are going to
Very safe ward there from the Lulu. Good idea to spot out the Sejuani who decided to stay in this bush. Sejuani is going to be taking the blue from Hecarim out of his own jungle. And Akali has dropped a ward on her own blue buff. So hoping to catch out that Hecarim if he does decide to horizontal jungle here and pick up that blue in trade.
Yeah, and she's actually going to go ahead and take the Gromp too, try and take everything. So this Hecarim is going to really need to be taking blue buff, and looking for that vertical jungle will be very interesting for this game. You don't see junglers too often that Gold League go for vertical jungles.
Oh my god, it's the horizontal done. It is a vertical jungle indeed. Lots of trading going back and forth here in the bot lane. Galio already engaging on this Ryze, and Ryze taking a lot of minion auto attack damage there. Already very low on health and forced to start taking on his pots.
Yeah, and Sejuani is looking to catch the Hecarim out. They're looking for a 3-man pincer right now.
Look at this. Galio absolutely has lane priority, and he is coming over the wall. Hecarim's trying to pony out and escape. Akali is in the river. Trundle has actually gone back to topside here, so it is Sejuani, Akali, and soon to be Galio trying to catch out this Hecarim. Hecarim is stunned, and First Blood is going to go over to Akali. Is Hecarim going to make it out alive? There's no way. 1Q comes out from Akali. First blood secured to the top laner of Queen's Gambit.
Yeah,
also a double buff.
And this kind of crazy. Okay, so first of all, it's amazing for Akali. But I just want to say it's kind of crazy that 3 games in a row, Sejuani has gotten a consistent lead over the enemy jungle in the early game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, the knowledge and the presence of mind to know that your team was going to be able to follow up, and obviously you're going to have mid lane prior with the Galio, as he did, to go for that and get the ward on. So that was all very, very cleverly sort of anticipated and executed by Queen's Gambit.
It was a very good reaction. I feel like as soon as Ryze had gotten chunked out and had to go back under his turret, Hecarim should have pulled out for that invade. I think you'd rather be behind in your camps than be behind to death here. Akali now getting a lot of favorable trades into this Trundle, and she is looking to literally just proxy him off the wave and keep her advantage going up top. We do see Bard now is roamed up to the mid lane. Sejuani tries to flash, and flashes are traded for the jungle. Oh no, she didn't even flash. She literally just dashed, so she just yoinked Ryze's flash there. Good gank from Sejuani and Bard.
And now the next time that the lane is in a favorable state, the Ryze was not going to have any flash. It's going to be very caught out, and there's just so much gank set up for mid lane with the Galio.
There is. Hecarim now is looking to possibly come in for a gank on the mid lane, or looking to invade into Sejuani's jungle. Hecarim now is seeing that Galio has jumped in with a great knockback, forcing Galio to take a turret shot, though. A flash coming over the wall is going to keep him safe. So now both mid laners are down flashes. Bard lands a good stun on the Lulu. Ezreal and Bard are now walking back under the turret. Vayne landing a lot of good damage, but in comes Sejuani on the flank. Absolutely no vision from red side here. Sejuani is able to land the slow on both. Lulu is forced to flash. They are going to get out alive, but they are blowing summoners left and right here on red side.
I really like that she walked out before the Hecarim was able to get here. Had that presence of mind to know that they cannot overstay their welcome. They got the beginning of the gank off, and the Lulu burned flash. That's what they came here for. We can't look for anything else. and just making sure that my bot lane is getting the pressure they need.
Yeah, Hecarim's also in a rough spot too. He does try to come down to secure a counter gank or to see if there's anything to be picked up, but he doesn't get anything, and he's forced to walk back to just the one camp that he has available on this side. Galio still having a lot of favorable trades into the Rise, even taking turret shots, and is comfortable to be able to take these trades. So a lot of good things are going over to Queen's Gambit this time around.
Yeah, and you see that Sejuani, I think, is pinging Dragon very early to make sure that the enemy is not doing it. Maybe they also want to contest it.
Sejuani with a very early armor boots buy. I like it. She's ready to be fast and to be tanky.
Swedish asking when I can play Trundle mid. I don't know. I don't think your draft coach is.
Yeah, Halio possibly overstaying and being a little bit confident here. He tries to walk up to catch the Rise out of place, but Hecarim with a fantastic ability to get out in front of the retreating Galio and pick up a kill, but I speak too soon. Sejuani is now answering the gank on bot side now. Vayne is forced to flash and to heal. Lulu is trying to walk out safe and alive. She's dodging back and forth. The poke is so strong, and Ezreal will bring her down. So that is a kill going over to Ezreal, and blue team turns their eyes to Dragon.
Yeah, so what you were saying about the mid lane gank is, I had said previously, oh, we got the Rise flash down, we have a lot of ganks set up, but Hecarim turned that around with 2 ganks, and he instead was able to get the kill so that his mid laner can now be relieved of pressure instead. And yeah, it was a really good gank going into bot lane. I think the Galio just has to be a little bit more safe whenever, not go for trades. I do understand wanting to push the wave a lot, but you can't always just contest the enemy whenever you don't know where the enemy jungler is.
And look at this, blue buff has spawned, and we already see Sejuani and Bard answering to try to block Hecarim from getting that farm in his jungle. Ryze has teleported, or used his ult, up top, and it is Akali in a 2v1, but here comes Galio from the mid lane with his ultimate. Akali is now diving in to try to deal damage. Galio with a beautiful double taunt is able to keep the Akali alive. Akali now is looking to turn aggressive on the Ryze. This is a crazy 2v1 up top. There are so many ways for these teams to get around the map.
True. It's just like there's gonna be constant battle of rotations, I feel like, is what it's gonna be, because the Rise ult at the top and the Galio ult at the top, immediately at pretty much within like a few 10 seconds of each other or so, and it's just gonna be a battle of 2v2s, I think, across the board. 2v2 jungle mid, 2v2 mid top side. There's a 3v3 bot side, but everyone is just gonna be looking for that sort of thing.
Yeah, and it looks like Carry Bear is trying to be a little bit more advantageous here than the Sejuani. Instead of continuing to stay and hover around bot side, he literally went up and crashed that wave into the turret. Hecarim is now continuing his rotation up top, but Galio is going to be walking out safe.
Yeah.
And Hecarim is going back to his red buff now.
Yeah, Sejuani's finally clearing out her top side jungle, but her bot side is really in need of someone to bail them out. Because they are being poked down. 3 hits from Vayne and they're brought down to half HP. They are able to make it to level 6, but their mana bars and their health bars are taking a toll.
That's a tough thing about Vayne, right? Like, you feel like you're winning a train until she hits you with 3 autos, and then you're like, well, this trade will never go in my favor. So, which is, you would think, easier for Ezreal to do, to try to kind of flirt on these edges and toss Qs and autos where you can, but a very competitive bot lane. We are literally within 1 farm of each other. And 1 kill going over in the favor of Ezreal.
Okay, and then the Akali even being traded mid. Not quite sure.
Sejuani is coming up top, drops the ult, is going to snare up this Trundle here. Trundle trying to live with an ult and a good Q to slightly heal his health. The smite is going to come down. A great Trundle pillar, though. Trundle stayed alive a lot longer than I thought, but it will not be enough. Trundle will fall to the Akali, or excuse me, to the Sejuani and the Galio.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Akali could have maybe done the same thing, but I'm not
Good
certain.
Flash from Ryze. And we see Akali and Ryze trading now. She's flashing to try to kill him. Quick feet by that Ryze. Literally picks up the solo kill. Hecarim ults across, but he is a little bit too late as Ryze picks up a kill. Really, really great flash there to stay alive.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that it's theoretically possible for Akali to kill Ryze, but she doesn't have Riftmaker yet, which is when she gets her big power spike. I would have honestly just preferred that she stayed top lane and just had Sejuani gank the lane with her and Trundle in it. And they weren't even able to get Rift, which kind of sucks because they had to trade those kills back mid lane. So we are just kind of chilling around. Bot lane, though.
Yeah, Vayne is going to go ahead and engage with ultimate onto Ezreal. Ryze is TPing down onto a ward. Bard with a great ultimate to freeze up the Vayne. It is now 4 members chasing down the Bard of Ezreal on blue side here. Bard with a fantastic magical journey is going to get them out. Okay. Dragon still 1 minute and 25 seconds away from spawning. So a lot of action with not a lot of consequences.
Yeah, so basically the Ryze TP'd in, and I'm kind of surprised he didn't ult in. Maybe it wasn't up at that moment. But the Ryze didn't ult in, and the Galio didn't need to even come forward because the Bard was just able to ult the Vayne away and make a nice magical journey, like you said. And Hecarim ult, well, is that even going to be up for the next fight?
Look at this, though. Sejuani and Bard coming across on the magical journey from out of vision here. Vayne is trying to kite back. Ezreal ult is only going to hit Lulu. Lulu ult comes across on the Vayne. Vayne is now trying to turn and deal damage here. Bard is getting chunked out. Vayne is continuing to chase with the autos. Bard flash is forced. Vayne is stunned by a good Bard Q. And it looks like action is going to settle down here.
Yeah,
Ryze ult, though, coming across on the top side, bringing Trundle with him. Akali is doing a great job of dodging through the lane here. He's able to use the Shuriken and her ultimate to get out okay. But as soon as I say that, Sejuani returns to a visit down and bottom. Hecarim comes and dives top. They are able to dive the Akali. Akali will trade for 1, but here comes Vayne. Vayne is staying alive for very long. Bard isn't able to trap her in the ult. Vayne picks up 1. Vayne tumbles, picks up 2. Lulu isn't able to keep her alive, but will secure that kill on Ezreal. A 2v3 going in favor of Team Red in the bot side.
Yeah. Just like skirmishes going on across the board. Akali's finally picked up Riftmaker, so she's going to be doing a lot more damage. Galio has not been able to find an ult either top or bot, which is kind of surprising. I really feel like he needed to be there for one of them.
Yeah, that absolutely would have turned the team fight, I think, in favor for that bot gank for sure. But a lot of good kiting from the Vayne and literally a pocket Lulu. You're never happier than when you see that when you're playing Vayne, and they both did a great job of staying alive and staying in that fight.
Yeah, it was a little weird when I saw the Bard and Sejuani go for the magical portal ult onto the Vayne because I didn't think they had enough damage, and surely enough they did not. But maybe
Bard trying to land a Q on the Ryze, isn't able to get a stun. Now it's Sejuani and Bard in a 3v2 scenario. A TP is coming out across from Akali. Galio ults in across the rest of the team. Ryze is going to get shut down. Sejuani is also going to be traded. Vayne and Hecarim are now running for their life as they're being chased by 4 members of blue. In comes Lulu. The Bard ult comes across and lands the double stun. Lulu is able to land an ult on Hecarim. She might have missed the Vayne there with a click. Trundle has shown up to the fight, but it is a little bit too late.
Yeah, and I think regardless of whether it was Vayne or Hecarim, one of them was definitely going to go down. The Bard ult just came off CD. It was the perfect timing, and they were able to layer everything across. And now they should be able to pick up this dragon if they so choose.
Yeah, and they'll probably most likely get this mid turret as well before they make that rotation, or at least grab all the plates before doing so.
Yeah.
Wow, a lot of fights going back and forth. It is 8 kills to 7. We are only 13 minutes into the game. We literally have more than 1 kill a minute in this game so far.
Yeah, there is no rest for the wicked, and I am as wicked as they get, so they knew that they had to keep fighting to have us commentate as long as possible. And they're going to keep... Another one?
The dragon goes across. Another team fight is coming across. Vayne does a good job of shutting the Bard out of his magical journey and isn't able to actually follow him. She might have misclicked on that portal. Hecarim is looking to possibly follow the Bard, but will take a pink ward instead. So no one's going to fall after that dragon pickup. That is second dragon over here for blue side. We have, guess what? Another Infernal Soul for game 3.
I mean, it's just scripted. It's just scripted. I didn't make the script, but we are running with it. Trundle's trying to proxy waves. Again, I saw a colleague come top and hit a blast plant for some reason. It looks like he's going to try to execute. I don't think he can get out of the range of an Akali.
Oh, what a great pillar. He should have just kept walking the turret. He would have been fine.
The indecision. The indecision definitely cost him in that one. But yeah, now Akali has quite a lead going into mid game. So that's definitely extremely scary, especially if you are specifically Ryze. Vayne Lulu, I feel like, is still not too worried about this. But now Ryze is going to have, or whoever really wants to match the Akali in the side lane is going to have a rough time.
Well, the big thing to also note here, at least in the bot lane and up top side, is we have mythics being completed for blue side first. So Queen Gambit has been able to get that Divine Sunder on Ezreal, which is probably going to deal enough damage to start trading with this Vayne, which Shu just picked up Kraken on her back. So, but again, we've got Riftmaker on Akali, nothing completed for Trundle yet. Akali is now hiding in her shroud as Hecarim is coming up top to gank. He's able to knock her into a wall. She is down to half health. In comes Sejuani with a good ult to keep the Hecarim away. Akali is staying around. She flashes away from the Hecarim ult, is not feared or knocked back, but Trundle is going to be able to pick up the Sejuani. Akali is literally just dancing in the backline, not able to do any damage. The Galio now is fighting across and is able to pick up the kill on Hecarim. Here comes Trundle. He is picking up the turret, picking up a kill, and he is going to possibly stay and fight. He is, as Rise is going to come across and deal with this pesky Galio. Trundle now with a double kill. That's a big pickup for Persona up in the top lane. We're still just having a joyous little farm fest down bot.
Yeah. They kind of went for a little bit too much when Akali didn't have ult right there. I felt like they just needed to play for disengage. And sure enough, it did cost them. The Hecarim ult coming up, Akali having to burn flash, and now the Trundle is kind of back in the game with that kill. I still don't know. I think he could probably 1v1 Akali whenever he gets his... Yep, now he just finished up Sunder and Tiamat, so now he's going to be looking a lot stronger in the side lane.
Well, and let's also remember, he has two fantastic targets to ultimate in this game. He can drop the ultimate on the Sejuani or on the Galio and really take advantage of their tanky stats because they're going to be building tank, or they should be, to try to keep their damage dealers alive. So I feel like Trundle is able to accelerate his lead quite a bit and will most likely be able to 1v1 the Sakali in the top lane. But here comes Hecarim, though. I don't believe he's been spotted out by wards or by minions. Vayne is trying to bait in this Bard, but here comes Rise. He's able to land the root onto Bard. Bard has dropped a magical journey. He is able to get under his turret. Vayne is looking to dive, but she walks back after a shield. Here comes Galio, though. It is now low health targets for blue. Galio has taunted the Rise and is 1v1ing him in this tri-brush. Rise is going to drop with a fail flash as Galio picks up a kill. Hecarim, though, still in the bush, almost has his ultimate. Bard ult comes across. He's able to land the stun on Vayne. Galio tries to flash in and get a knockup, but he misses. A good magical journey brings him across the wall and keeps him safe, but Vayne is now ulted and is fighting. Vayne was stunned by a great Bard Q that's going to stop that engage fight down bottom. It is now a 2v1 up on the top side as Trundle is trying to run for his life, trying to fight this a ninja and mounted warrior here.
Oh my god!
Are absolutely destroyed by that fantastic turn from Trundle, who just did so much damage between him and the turret. What was that burst? Wait, what did I just see?
That was insane. Just the Sunderer came online. It almost looked like he got two autos in the span of one with that.
Oh.
That literally, Sejuani got like 50% health bursted, and she has a Sunfires and Tabbies. I almost think that was a bug.
I might have been. It was so much damage that's come across. But now we see Hecarim coming from the flank and is looking to dive. Hecarim is now taking the turret. Vayne is autoing the turret instead of the Ezreal. Picks up the kill on Ezreal, and Hecarim's going to be able to drop aggro. A kill is picked up and the outer turret. The gold lead now 3k in favor for I Cannot Believe We Have Girlfriends.
Yeah, and Gray has done such a good job with rotations the entire game, even though
oh my.
Ooh, yep, and like
Rise just obliterating a random Bard.
Literally, as I was saying it, he finds another kill right there. So yeah, they're just doing a good job, I think, rotating around the map. Even though they were behind a lot in the early game, they've picked it up entirely. It's like they've never even had a deficit.
Yeah, I think that blue team just had a really strong early 1 through 3, and they did some good advantageous plays, but red team put that behind them and said, we know when we're spiking, and are really doing a good job on coordinated team fights. Now, tell me this. I don't know a lot about Hecarim, especially after his nerfs. Trinity Force, is that a common item that we see, or do we normally see Divine Sunder or something else picked up on Hecarim?
Yeah, it's a little weird that Sunder wasn't picked up. I guess there's only 2 tanks, so he might not feel as incentivized. The thing is that the Hecarim buffs that happened recently only buff his AD, so I'm not exactly very sure how much that is going to increase his damage by going Triforce instead of Sunderer. He might just opt for... I've seen Hecarim even do like a Manamune build, and if that ever takes off...
Interesting.
he'll do an insane amount of damage. But I don't think that we're gonna be looking for anything like that today. Yeah, I think it's just mostly preference. The move speed is still there on the Triforce as of yet, so it will be
We now
removed
have
later. But yeah, it. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we now actually have mythics across the board. The biggest pickup and my favorite thing here is going to be that Shurelia's on Lulu.
Yeah.
This entire team is so ready to engage, chase your team down, and Lulu is now enabling a Hecarim to move that much faster or to keep her Vayne kiting at that much more speed. So awesome pickup there.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that the one thing that Black had going for them was that they potentially had a very good side lane and rotation wise, and I think the Shorelia shores up that weakness entirely.
Ooh, Ryze is getting caught out in the mid lane though. Good Sejuani ult lands, this forces the stun. He's stunned up again afterwards. He is going to fall to the Galio in the mid lane. Trundle now though looking to bully the Akali up top. Trundle knows he's comfortable literally just farming these waves though and keeping the sustain up. We do have some more action coming across in the mid lane though as Lulu and Vayne and Hecarim are showing up to match this Galio and Sejuani. Ezreal is now returned as well. It might be a 3v4 in the mid lane. Rift Herald is dropped topside from the Trundle.
Okay.
Bard ult is actually going to save that turret from taking that big tick of damage. Fantastic Bard ult there. Really good micro play for sure. And now we're seeing a possible 4v5 in blue side's jungle. Trundle, though, with a great disengaged pillar, is actually going to keep them off the rest of his team. Vayne, though, kind of caught out by herself and possibly getting engaged on. Here comes the magical journey. Galio using his proto belt to get forward. Trundle is now in the back line. Hecarim comes across and lands the fear over 4. TP is coming in from Ryze. Trundle literally tanking the entirety of the team. Akali trying to kill the Vayne, but again, she's got that Lulu that's going to keep her alive. Trundle flashes out on the backside, and now Red is continuing their chase down as Vayne is going for more blood. Literally, man, it's nonstop. Nobody ever wants to stop fighting. I don't get it.
Yeah, their team fight, I think that they've drafted for is just way easier to pull off, and they have the scaling coming in. Like Ryze has done a good job just farming and keeping even though I was a little bit of a losing lane for him. Trundle is now online, which is something that I don't really think about too much, but it's something that's happening in this game. Is the Trundle is just going to be insane in the side lane, so they really just kind of don't have any weaknesses in this game.
Yep, blue side does see that red is taking the Baron. Bard tried to make a hero play, but was almost killed for it. And a Baron is picked up at 22 minutes. I can't believe we have girlfriends. Really feels like they are trying to accelerate this game and push this win a lot faster than the previous 2 games before it. So this early Baron really seems to be a good play for them as they continue to push up these lanes.
Absolutely. Yep.
What else is there to get on the map? Dragon's up in a minute. Do you think that that's a contested fight again?
I mean, like you said, we are looking at Infernal Soul again, and it's just like so far away for them though. They have 2 more dragons, which means that they are gonna have to fight through this Baron to kind of get a dragon. I don't think it's happening, and the enemy team also has a scaling comp, so it's gonna require a lot for them. Maybe if they have a very good Bard engage on top of the Sejuani and Ezreal ultimate, and they can CC and get just enough wombo combo out for them to be able to take the game, or sorry, to take a team fight. I could see them winning potentially that way, but any other way, it's just going to require better rotations and better picks, and the problem is that the enemy team can literally match them 1 for 1 on every single rotation they do.
Look at Trundle just absolutely shredding turrets as Dragon is going to spawn. He's going to try to tie up this Akali. Akali does have TP to answer this dragon fight if she chooses to do so, where Trundle does not. But Ezreal is back in the base. Hecarim ults across. Bard comes over but takes the magical journey back. Sejuani tries to live, is unable to steal the dragon, and will fall for the attempt. It is now 2 Infernal Drakes for the side of red team here, and Trundle is continuing to bring pressure with that Baron buff and take down another turret here for red side.
I guess they were just going for a steal there. I don't entirely dislike that, because if somebody leaves, right, the Trundle is just going to take away all their towers.
Now, I like this. This is night and day from our last 2 games. One team has a lead, and they are literally diving turrets to try to push this. They know they win these team fights. They want to get this game over and done with. We do see now, though, that Persona is tanking the turret, is at pretty low health. Galio was Zonia's or Bartled, excuse me. But now both Bard and Galio will fall. A double kill for Rise. It is 4 members, all with Baron now inside the base of Queen's Gambit.
Yeah, this Trundle build is actually just doing a lot of work this
Ooh,
game.
look at this though. Sejuani drops an ult. The Ezreal ult misses by inches, and Rise will live. He's going to teleport his team away into the opposing team jungle and out of harm's way.
Yep, and we are still looking for more. This Trundle has just picked up 3 towers and counting in the past 2 minutes, pretty much. They're gonna take the enemy jungle as also, just to make sure that just in case you guys are really not gonna get anything.
Yeah, that's painful. It's punishing. Red team again just doing a great job of saying we have a lead and they're going to not let up off the gas. There is no Baron for 3 minutes. There is no Dragon for 3.5. So right now, Red is going to back. They're going to buy and most likely group into a lane to try to probably force another team fight.
Yep. Ezreal is down quite a bit on the Vayne. Vayne not quite finishing up a 3rd item, but close to the Blade of the Ruined King. Ezreal just finishing up Manamune. I'm not sure how long ago. Sejuani is looking to finish out that Thornmails though. And Akali is still not really going to be very strong in this game for quite a while, I do not believe. Meanwhile, the Rise has finished his Seraphs, his scaling is beginning, and the Trundle, we've already seen how much damage it does. It just somehow has gotten a lead even though it's been behind for the beginning of the game. And it's kind of ridiculous. I think they're kind of running away with the game at this point.
They really are, and I think again, kind of the struggles that we're seeing is on each one of these games, there's been one player, whether it be on Queen's Gambit or I can't believe we have girlfriends, who's just been not as impactful as their opposing laner. And I think right now that's happening in that Trundle or Kali matchup. Sure, she has 5 kills, but she isn't able to assassinate anybody in the backline to do her job. So that is going to be a struggle for them as they try to do this. We are seeing literally Trundle tanking turrets while fighting Galio and picking it up here. The inhib is most likely going to go down as well as Rise, his bodyguard, is showing up. Galio will most likely fall here. He is forced to drop his Zonias. His team is coming for backup. Sejuani ult misses. No stun there. Akali missing the Shuriken. And boom, there goes Rise and Trundle. The great escape as they walk out unharmed while the rest of their team is now assembled and taking the bot turret and bottom inhibitor. Sejuani, though, with a good engage. Vayne is exhausted, but kiting back and forth. Another Lulu ult going across the Hecarim and not her carry. Vayne now low on health. Rise is here, though, is going to be packing a punch with his damage. They're going to catch out Bard here. Rise taking the turret, but still trying to assassinate this Ezreal. One Nexus turret falls. The second Nexus turret falls. Sejuani falls. And we have all 5 members of a red side grouped together as they take Nexus in Game 3, going over to I cannot believe we have girlfriends. Woo!
What an exciting game. Yeah, and they were able to make adaptations across the entire set and finally pull out with that victory. Let's look at some stats for the meanwhile. Ooh, okay. Yep, the Galio actually ended up having done the most damage on the team. Imagine that Galio pick was something that actually wasn't even just a tank. Who knows?
Yeah.
But Vayne, Rise, and Trundle all pretty much coming in hand at about the 1700 mark. So that was nice. I want to quickly see damage dealt to turrets. I feel like that's going to be something that would be cool. Where is that one?
Trundle with 24,000 damage dealt to turrets.
Yeah, that is the power of having a side laner who knows that they knew, like, when they decided to pick Trundle in this game, they're like, I'm not playing for team fight. You guys can see me on the other side of the map. And they made that work.
I mean, holy smokes, you're right, though. I think just really good adaptations from both teams, but specifically, I can't believe we have girlfriends really found a way after losing game 1 to say, hey, we're ready for game 2, and then we're changing it up game 3. Both teams kind of gave us that swap-a-roo, but it certainly went up in, I cannot believe we have girlfriend's favor. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think as that finishes out, we should be asking ourselves a big question: who is MVP?
Well, first off, if you can close our predictions, that would be awesome. I
Oh, because
might
you
have
voted.
voted, so I can't end it. Sorry.
I got
I
you, buddy.
wanted some gap points, man.
I got you.
But yeah, who's MVP? Obviously, we need to get a poll started, which I will work on. So bear with me here. Who was MVP? I'm going to go ahead and put in the champion that they played during the last game. But please keep in mind when we review these MVP votes, it is for the MVP of all matches played. So I'm going to go ahead and drop them in the chat here.
Yeah, I mean, who's your personal favorite MVP? I have to ask. What do you
You
think?
know what? I think I was really impressed by Hottest Cashier NA and Codex Mac during team fights. I think that there was a lot of exemplary kiting and doing a good job of dealing damage when their team really needed it. So for me, it's a toss up between the two, but probably Hottest Cashier edging it out for me just because Kodak might have ulted the Hecarim a couple of times when they could have used it.
Yeah.
What about you?
I feel like their jungle had a lot of problems in a lot of the games early on, and then kind of managed to shore up his weaknesses. The mid lane was a little coin flippy game 1 and 2, um, but after he kind of found his stride after game 1, I feel like he did perfectly fine games 2 and 3. And Persona also having a bit of a rough matchup early on. But yeah, like you said, I think that Hottest Cashier and Kodak Mac were actually very consistent the entire way through as a bot lane. And what more can you really ask?
Yeah, and I think that with when you're playing Xayah, it's really, really important that you're utilizing her ultimate to try to turn team fights. And time again, she was dropping that ultimate to avoid really big CC bombs as she was getting dove constantly. So very impressive game there. And you were right. What's scarier than a Vayne Lulu? That Vayne was pretty dominatory in that game as well. So
Hmm.
everybody, the MVP poll is up for another minute and a half. I see people voting. Let's try to get as many votes as we can. Of course, the winner of our MVP vote tonight will join us for an interview, and I can't wait to hear from Team Gray. I want to know, why can they not believe that they have girlfriends? You guys won week 1 of the gold split. You deserve them, okay? You deserve the girls.
Yeah, Team Gap approved partner sponsorships right here.
Seriously, though, quite an exciting series. I mean, literally, uh, action packed. Action packed. And I mean, between the first game and the second game, the swings were so big. Uh, you can't ask for more, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, back and forth, back and forth. A lot of balls bouncing around in the games. We saw Oriana Wukong going in a lot in game 2 and trying to get damage on the Jinx backlining. And on the enemy team, the Poppy and Sejuani just being on top of you. I mean, if I could give an MVP to one specific character this game, it would be Sejuani. I don't know how a Sejuani is 3-1 on almost every single game at like the 5-8 minute mark. That's kind of funny to me.
Yeah, very interesting to see Sejuani taking such a priority in our Gold League so early. I think we saw a lot of her strengths, but then in that last game, a very inherent weakness that she provides. So teams might not try to do such a contested round with her in the next coming weeks.
Absolutely. Okay, we are seeing that the MVP poll has ended, and it is with 5 votes. We're looking at Hottest Cashier NA has made it to the
Wow.
final interview stage vetting process. We're going to have him here and check out. We looked at his resume, it all looks clean. We just need him to show up for the in person interviews, and then we should be good.
So I think in his team, he's Josh the Tank. Am I able to pull him? Let me see. I am. Hottest Cashier NA, how are you?
Hello? Hold on. One sec. Hold on.
Yeah, tell
Oh,
mom to get the
I heard
camera.
a zipper. I don't know. I heard a zipper. I'm uncomfortable.
I was
Please,
peeing. Hold on.
please
What's up,
make sure the
guys?
zipper's going up, not down.
Yep. Hey, are you guys okay if I turn on my webcam?
Again, if the zipper is up and not down, yes.
Okay. Hold on. Oh, I can't. It says I can't do it in this channel.
Oh,
Bummer.
shucks.
Oh, you're not.
Bummer.
You're not. You're
Bummer.
not able to. Well, Sorry, it looks like that's a whole thing in itself. But you guys had a fantastic display on us for our gap
Thank you.
today. Absolutely love to see it. You guys even ended up pulling out the Vayne Lulu bot lane. I love that draft coming out in the end, and I feel like you guys made a lot of adaptations over the course of this set that worked out in your favor, and that was even with a sub on your team. So, and I believe this was only approved as of today. So, do you have any thoughts on how you guys had to come in there for the draft unprepared? I'm assuming that you only figured out that everything was gonna work out with snacks today, right?
Yeah. We pretty much winged it, to be honest. We haven't practiced, even with our normal roster. We never practiced. We practiced maybe one time, and we said we were going to wing it the first week and see who we liked. And to be actually, our top laner was a sub too. We had our top and our mid were subs. We've never played with them before.
Oh, really?
And we're hoping to pick them up permanently because we liked what we saw today and continue it. But they have to decide still. So.
Okay, well, I will say that for coming in, yeah, your draft did look a very rough game one, giving that Cassidy and having them have that talent counter pick, and it kind of put a little hurt in and on your team for the beginning half of the game and carried that all the way through. But I feel like adaptation wise, you guys pulled it out. By game three. By game two, you guys had already recognized what the enemy team had wanted to go for, signaling out that they wanted to pick this sort of team fight, Jinx Ori, and you guys managed to take away that Sejuani from them. And then even game three, letting them have the Sejuani. I love that you guys were able to make that adaptation. So that was absolutely beautiful to you in terms of that. Magic, do you have any question?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. So you guys lose game one and then bring it back with those last two. We saw a lot of advantages being picked up in draft. Why do you guys feel like Sejuani is such a pivotal pickup? Like, why was that fought over so often?
She slept over, to be honest. I think she's broken. She's one of the best tank champions in the jungle because of her CC and how tanky she gets in the beginning of fights, especially early game. And it's hard to bully her early. So we like her, and our jungler has a lot of games on him. And their jungler actually did a pretty good job, too, on him as well. And we hope that more people pull out the Sejuani, especially because our jungler knows what counters are pretty hard. So that's what we went for.
So you hope she's playing more. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And you guys did a fantastic job. I absolutely love it as far as draft goes. Now, getting into the game, across the entire series, what was your favorite play that happened? Tell us about that.
Oh, definitely in that last game where Kodak, or either when Persona 2v1'd under the tower, or when Kodak and I 2v3 down in the bot lane. That was definitely one of the best pivotal moments. I think we were all yelling in Discord.
Yeah, I mean,
so that was fun.
You guys had a lot of great matchups there across the board. The Trundle, man, I literally thought it was a bug. It was so much damage in one auto attack. It was like 50% of Sejuani's health is what it looked like. That was absolutely ridiculous, but I do see that 1v1 potential is just insane out of that. And then, of course, you guys were able to do a very good job of kiting in the bot lane versus the Sejuani and the Bard and having so many good opportunities to deal damage. That's why I love the Vayne Lulu draft so much in that game 3. So props to you guys for pulling that one out. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that was fun. We appreciate you guys casting this stuff, and for making it smooth as well, making the lobbies and stuff. You make it very easy on our lives just to play the game.
All right,
I got one more question for you. So game 1, game 2, giant slogs. I mean, they ended up both going over 30 minutes. Literally, game 2, you guys team fought, I think, for the last 25 minutes of that game. What is the difference that comes across in your guys' team to take such a decisive win in game 3? Like, what is your transition in your calls or your go button that allowed you to end that game so much faster than game 2?
I mean, to be honest, it's just being positive. Coming out of game 1, we were just still positive. We're like, oh no, we got the next game, and then we won that game, and then the third game came around. We're like, hey, we're gonna win this one too, and it's just staying positive. I mean, it's not even worth getting negative over losing and making mistakes and stuff. So
absolutely, and we saw that even your laners that came out of lane with a negative KDA or whatever, like Persona was definitely behind a few games. Definitely was able to pull his weight late game as both Trundle and Poppy. Absolutely. So I can see that
he hard carried us late game. Yeah.
So I can definitely see that you guys are having really great mental and communication wise trust each other. So that was beautiful. Props to you guys. I'm going to call it off here. So have a good night, Josh the Tank or Hardest Cashier. A great win to pick up. I believe that was your first win of the series, right?
First W. Yep.
So a great way to start out on the right foot. We love to see it. But I'm going to disconnect you for now so you can say your goodbyes.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
See you later, man.
Have a good day.
All right. So Magic Man, game number 2 of the first week for us. they definitely took it away.
Look, I'm excited Gold Lead is back. I love seeing the Plat teams play, but there's something about best of threes, especially when they go to game 3, that just make you love League of Legends. So thanks for both teams. Those were well-fought games, a well-in victory for I cannot believe we have girlfriends. And I think that's a great start, a great first week for Gap in our Gold League.
Absolutely. So make sure that you guys are getting your games scheduled for in the Showdown announcement so that we can cast your games. But that is going to be it for this week. We'll see you back next week. This is I Am Way, twitch.tv/WaySSBM, signing out. And Magic Man, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just Magic Man. All right.
Magic Man, let's go. Hey, carrying me here on stream. So you guys have a good one. Stay frosty out there tonight.